The Nationals road trip got off to a terrific start in New York and Colorado. But everything changed this weekend. Nats unable to prevent their first three-game losing streak. Tonight, the scene shifts to St. Louis, where it'll be no holiday against the defending National League Central champions.
It's a great day for baseball.
On to the gateway city of St. Louis, Busch Stadium, where the Cardinals are always tough to beat. A 3-4 road trip for the Nationals, but they've been in every game, a couple of one-run games in Colorado. This is pretty close to being a much better road trip than that. Bob Carpenter and Rob Dibble, first of just a two-game series here. Hey, Rob, I think it's important for us to note that with Drew Storen coming up to the big leagues, Steven Strasburg sometime soon, these kids aren't saviors. They're good young pitchers, unproven at the big league level, but it's nice to see Storen finally in person.
Yeah, and Storen wouldn't be here if Bruni was doing the job. I mean, he'd probably be still down in the minor leagues, but the failure of some guys at the major league level have expedited this guy's rise, and meteoric rise it is, up to the major leagues. And so everything he did in the minor leagues is all about throwing strikes and getting people out, but at the major league level, it's about results. And it's easy to get here, it's tough to stay, so thinking that Drew Storen's gonna come in and just light the world on fire, that's a little bit high in your expectations. So when you look at our bullpen, Slayton just got called up here. You're bringing Storen up here, and it's all about the Nationals knowing they need to win ball games. It's about getting guys out late in ball games, and the bullpen hasn't been doing the job, Bob. So Drew Storen, first-round pick, went to the minor leagues last year for a little bit, and now a little bit more in the minor leagues, and he's up in May. You know, it took me 4.5, almost 5 years to get to the major leagues, and I was a first-round pick, and that's a long time ago. But the point being is, if guys are doing the job here, it's tough to win the jobs and be given a chance. So on a club that expects to win every day, Storen has to do the job. This isn't just, hey, we signed you, we wanted to put you in the big leagues.
Speaking of doing the job, a couple of weeks ago, we looked at this stretch in the schedule, and there was a lot of concern. Well, Rob, here we are, the middle of May, and the only teams the Nats have losing records against are a playoff team from Colorado and a playoff team from Philadelphia.
Well, and I don't agree with some skeptics that say we're lucky to be over 500. I think we've done a great job defensively, cleaned up our act. Pitching-wise, we've cleaned up our act. And offense, we can hold our own with anybody. And so now we got the Cardinals tonight, and this is what they did Saturday night in Cincinnati, and it was a rough one for them. They didn't score a lot of runs on this trip, and then they got thrown out at the plate for the final out of the ball game. But to lose first place to Cincinnati, they've got to be well motivated to play us the next 2 days.
Hard to believe the Cardinals as a team are hitting only .257, 11th in the league, with boppers like Pujols and Holiday, but they've lost 9 of their last 12 games, and the power just not coming from those big guys. But that doesn't mean they don't explode on you at any time.
Well, and I talked to Mark McGuire while they were hitting, and you know, watching them, they look fine. But they came up against some soft tossers, just like our guys in Colorado. And hitters have trouble with guys that throw the ball about 70 and might have an 85 to 88 mile-an-hour fastball. It's tough to really time those guys. They love guys that throw 95. Most of them can hit good fastballs. So for Craig Stammen tonight, he's got to be able to change speeds and get great movement on his pitches to have some success against the middle of their lineup.
Stammen has started against the Cardinals before, in fact, 3 times with an 0-1 record. Needs to get that 5.84 ERA down. Kyle Loesch has been around for a while. 0-1 his first year with Minnesota. He's beaten the Nats 2 out of 3 in his career. Zimmerman goes deep again. There goes one. See you later. Zimmerman goes the other way, heading for the scoreboard.
Yeah!
That ball is gone. Ryan Zimmerman, a pinch hit homer, and the Nationals lead 5-4.
And Ryan Zimmerman has done everything this ball club thought he could do and wanted him to do and hoped he could do. Home runs, number 99 in his career thus far. 173 doubles. The triples are 12. RBIs, 387. 632 games. But the home runs, Ray, he's one shy of hitting that number 100. And a lot of guys don't get to that part.
Yeah, I didn't get there. There's a lot of people that don't. He was fortunate enough that he didn't have to play a lot in the minor leagues, but, man, he's come on quickly, Johnny. He's got a tremendous hand action to his stroke, and he drives the ball as far as anybody in the game. And, hey, he's going to end up hitting 300-plus home runs. I mean, if you just look at it, project it out, if he stays healthy, that's a lot of home runs for a 25-year-old kid. And he's going to play till probably he's 35. And you look at he's going to probably end up hitting 30 home runs a year for the next, if he's healthy, for the next 10 years. So you're going to put him in the 350, 400 home run range.
He does have 5 home runs in his career against the St. Louis Cardinals. And when you ask his manager, Jim Riggleman, how proud he will be when he hits number 100, you can imagine what the skip thinks.
It's a great number, you know, for a young guy. You know, we certainly look forward to seeing that happen. And then, you know, he's one of those guys you hope spends his whole career here and, you know, hits 200, 300, 400, you know, just, you know, you look way down the road. But, you know, he's a young guy to have 100 home runs at this point. It's, you know, there's not that many guys who've done it, so you know it's pretty special.
And as Ray just admitted, you didn't do it, do you? I mean, a lot of guys can't get to that point.
I hit 87. I missed a lot of time, but I played in some big ballparks. But it didn't matter. I mean, this kid has power plus, a home run hitter, a home run swing, and you know you can tell he hits the ball out of the ballpark in right center field, down the right field line. There's no park big enough to hold him anywhere. So, I mean, he's a true home run, power, extra base type hitter, and one of the best 10 players in the game, in my estimation.
Bob and Rob coming up from St. Louis. First pitch is 8:15 tonight at Busch Stadium. On the other side of the ledger, we've talked about how everybody's elated over Drew Storen being called up. How about Brian Bruni? Just could not get it done with this ball club.
Yeah, he designated for assignment. He was brutal. He was brutal, and you hate that because he seems to be a hard-working guy. He's got a great arm, Johnny, 93 to 95 on the gun, but you don't know what it's going to take to fix him. You know, these guys have lives other than baseball. They have families. You don't know if something's not going on right in his life. You don't know if he may be a little tender somewhere.
Sure.
But all I know is he just was not effective. And it saddens you because he has all the ability, and he's been effective in the past. So how in the world can you all of a sudden become a guy that wins?
How do you lose it so quickly?
Yeah, he's just not throwing strikes. He lost the ability to throw strikes. I remember when Steve Blass did that. Dibble had a problem late in his career doing that, I think mainly because of injury. But generally it's injury related. But this kid throwing 93, 94, you don't think is injury, so it has to be just the situation became too big for him and he started trying too hard. He said to us, admitted to us, that he was his own worst enemy.
And he's been designated for assignment to AAA Syracuse, and he talked about his situation. There's nothing about, he's not holding anything back. Brian Bruni admits he didn't get the job done here in Washington.
You know, I understand it. Things didn't work out. I tried really hard. You know, worked really hard, and just the results weren't there. I felt like I threw the ball pretty well, you know, at times, but just some games got me, and you know, I'm not much of a help to this team right now. So where I go from here, I don't know. And you know, I guess only time will tell. I think we have a few days to find out, and then you know, we'll go from there. I'm certain I can add a lot to another major league club, or you know, again to this one at some point. But I don't feel like I'm a minor league pitcher, so we'll see what happens. Maybe somebody else doesn't feel that way either. But you know, as it sits now, I'm gonna go home.
Not a comfortable situation, Ray, and I'm sure you had to do that in Cincinnati with a pitcher or two.
Yeah, it's the worst feeling in the world when you know a kid is capable and something's holding him back. And he's not a minor league pitcher if he can throw strikes. But, you know, he's going to be in the beer leagues if he can't. I mean, it's just that simple.
Or playing softball.
Or playing softball
on
somewhere.
Weekends, yeah.
You know, that underhand,
the slow pitch stuff, yeah. Well, we wish him well, whatever the situation may be, whether he goes to AAA Syracuse or somebody picks him up. And it's up to Craig Stammen to get this club back on the track tonight.
Yeah, and he battles you every pitch, boy. He's one of those guys that's extremely intense, fills his position well, can hit, got the 2 base hits in his last game, but he has to keep the ball down and running it in tight to these hitters.
So the Cardinals have lost 2 of 3 at their ballpark. The Nats have lost 3 in a row. Bob and Rob just around the corner. First pitch coming up.
Nationals baseball on MASN, brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Honda. Look for money-saving leases and low financing at your Honda dealer. The cool weather following the Nats everywhere they go, it seems, these days. Cloudy skies all day in St. Louis, just a sprinkle or two, but really the weather not nearly as bad as we were told it might be. Cardinals have taken the field. The Nationals with a record on the road of 9-10. St. Louis at home is 10-6. Washington 7th in the league, hitting a .261, 11th in runs, 7th in home runs. And Ivan Rodriguez has had great success against tonight's St. Louis starter Kyle Loach. Adam Dunn was to bat 4th, but he still has the flu. They bumped Willingham, Rodriguez, and Kennedy up. Inserted Ian Desmond at short, move Kennedy to first, Guzman to second. And that's how things got put together tonight. Kyle Loach, 84 and 93 career. Willie Harris is the leadoff man tonight. First pitch of the ball game misses, and we're underway a minute early at 8:14 Eastern time. Willie with an on-base percentage of .289, and having some struggles at the plate, hitting just a .172.
Well, and Nigel Morgan with 3 strikeouts yesterday, getting the night off.
Jim Riggleman said before the game he envisions Nigel Morgan as a 145 to 150 game player. St. Louis native Jerry Davis has the plate tonight. He's the crew chief, 27th year. Sam Holbrook, Brian Knight, and Greg Gibson. Game time weather, cloudy skies. 56 degrees here in Missouri. Visit trainsearch.com to locate an independent train dealer near you. It's hard to stop a train. Willie Harris pulls one right side for a base hit under the dive of Skip Schumacher. And the Nats get their leadoff man aboard, just like Nigel Morgan did yesterday in Colorado.
Well, he got a huge 4-year contract, so it's a big investment for a guy who won 15 games a couple of years ago. Did not do well last year. He's hittable. 51 hits now with that hit in 38 innings pitched. And wait him out. He's got great stuff, but you wait him out, he'll blow up, and usually does. So take your time and take some pitches, make him throw strikes.
That'll bring in Christian Guzman. 2 hits and 3 at bats and a sac fly yesterday, and his hitting streak now sits at 10 games, 15 for 31. There's a guy behind home plate who will keep your running game from doing a whole lot. In the 2 series consecutively here, the Nats are facing Miguel Olivo and now Yadier Molina.
But the key up in Colorado was they were very quick to the plate too. They were all under 1-2. Jimenez is about 1 second, so that really helps your catcher out, because it takes about 2 seconds for any good catcher to throw somebody out. So you got to get him the ball in less than a second to 1.2.
Molina 7 of 13 on the year. Guzman breaks his bat, hits one into right center. Rushing in to grab it, Ryan Ludwig. St. Louis defensively top 4 in the league with 22 errors. Matt Holliday is errorless in left, as is Ludwig in right. Colby Rasmus, a pretty good emerging young player in center. The former Nat Felipe Lopez off the DL today with Schumacher up the middle. David Freese and Albert Pujols at the corners. And Molina, who has won a couple of Gold Gloves now, behind the plate. And here's Ryan Zimmerman. Brendan Ryan, the Cardinals' usual shortstop, is in a big-time slump, and he's 0 for 12. And Felipe Lopez gets the nod coming back off the DL today after a sore elbow. Ryan Zimmerman's hitting .330. That would have him in the top 7 in the league, but because of the week or so that he missed because of the hamstring, like Pudge Rodriguez, he doesn't have enough ABs to qualify for the league lead at the moment. On base percentage of .379. And Ryan hits one high in there to right center. That ball's got some long carry to it, and Ludwig right up against the barrier. In about a month, that's a home run. But Matt Holliday told me, Rob, with this weather, this ballpark plays pretty big.
Well, Zim put a charge into that one. Good fastball by Loesch. 2 hittable, though, and Ludwig back against the wall.
This ballpark is laid out in similar fashion to Nationals Park, where left and left center is sort of open. The scoreboard's in right center.
Well, it's reversed the way it used to be. I talked to Mark McGuire, and he said that home plate would be the right field foul line.
Willie Harris got what looked like a good jump, and Yadier Molina guns him down. So the Nats, with their cleanup hitter in the batter's box, lose another base runner. Their 17th caught stealing of the year. Busch Stadium holds nearly 44,000 and sold out on a regular basis here. The Cardinals are hitting .257, 11th in the league, 12th in runs, 7th in home runs. Matt Holliday, whether a Rocky or a Cardinal, has always hit the Nats well. He's in the number 3 spot tonight. Albert Pujols hasn't batted cleanup in about 7 years, but Tony La Russa juggling his lineup, trying to get them jump started. So Craig Stammen makes his 27th career start. And it just so happens that the way things have worked out, he started one ball game previously against St. Louis, and here comes another. And with all this young pitching that we hear, Rob, is on the way. Time will tell. And some veteran pitching as well down the road. These are what you would call urgent times for some of the young arms in the Nats rotation.
Well, and they should be. I mean, the results are not there. Lannon, Stammen, and they need to start pitching better.
Felipe Lopez bounces one to Christian Guzman, his former teammate, for the first out.
Let's scout Stammen for tonight's start. He needs movement on his pitches, especially his sinker. He needs that sucker to move away from lefties and in on righties. That was a good pitch there. Put him away. He gets ahead of a lot of guys. A lot of 0-2, 1-2 counts. He has not been able to put people away with a big breaking ball and make them hit your pitch. Hit your spots, locate pitches away from righties, away from lefties, and make them beat the ball into the ground.
Here's a power hitting number 2 guy, Ryan Ludwig. He has batted 4th and 5th for St. Louis over the last couple of years.
Made the All-Star team a couple of years ago.
Took this guy a long time to get his career going. Once he did, he took advantage of his playing time opportunity here in St. Louis.
He had a lot of injuries. This guy was often injured at every level. So that's why he is a little bit older than most guys with his kind of major league time.
He'll be 32 in July. Dangerous count, and a pop-up right side will go out of play. Ryan Ludwig in 08 hit 37 homers and had 113 RBIs. He was the first player since Hideki Matsui in 04. And get this, Lefty O'Doul in 1929 with those kind of numbers at the age of 30 for the first time. 750 or fewer career at bats before that. That's a good pitch by Stammen at the knees, outside corner, and the count's 2-2.
I like Ryan a lot, though. This is a gamer. He could fit in on our ball club.
Yeah, he's a tough guy, isn't he?
First 2 pitches he gets behind. There you see the strike on the 2-1 pitch.
Oh, beautiful breaking ball. Stammen keeping it down and away from Ludwig.
Well, that's his little slider. I also talked to McCaddy about that, Bob, that he is best when he's below 85 miles an hour on the slide piece right there. Just enough break on it. It's almost like a cut fastball, but for him, he can get downward movement because he throws over the top with the curveball, and there you see him just snap it off a little bit. But when he's throwing at 87, 88, that's where McCaddy doesn't want him to be.
Matt Holliday. So here you are in the first inning, where you're usually facing Albert Pujols, and it's Holliday hitting .299.
I just think Tony wants Matt to see better pitches, and he thinks that putting him in front of Pujols, he will see better pitches to hit, because you don't want to face Pujols with a guy on base.
Winning as active manager to La Russa. Ahead of Bobby Cox and Joe Torre, third on the all-time list. And before La Russa is done, he could very well be number 2 all-time, surpassing John McGraw. 2-1 to Holiday. Stammen has good edge of the plate location so far.
Well, a lot of our younger guys have to start pitching with a sense of urgency. You make 34 starts, you should be into every one and have your best stuff for everyone. This isn't an instructional league up here.
They want to get inside on 2-2. It's down and in. The thing you don't want to do is walk any hitter, no matter who he is, in front of Albert Pujols.
Well, and it was funny because McGuire was quoting Sandy Koufax facing Willie Mays. He says, I'm going to give my best stuff to the guy before Willie because I don't want to face him with anybody on base.
Nationals had a pretty solid defensive weekend in Colorado. Bernardina between Willingham and Harris tonight. Ian Desmond late into the lineup to move Guzman to second. There's Bernardina. 3-2, and he walked him. Now you have to pitch off the stretch to the man most people feel is the best hitter in the game.
Nah, he is. I don't feel it. I know he's the best hitter. You brought it up yesterday. He's got way more walks and strikeouts. He's like a lifetime 330 hitter over the course of his career, and I think it's close to 40 home runs a year, 100 plus RBIs, 100 runs scored. He's an amazing accomplishment for this organization. Kid comes out of Double-A. You don't think he's going to make the club. He does, and he's been a superstar ever since.
Yeah, he made the club on one of the last days of spring training in 2001 when Bobby Bonilla pulled a hamstring. He was supposed to be the St. Louis first baseman that year, and this man has had that position ever since. Now, Pujols did play some left and some third early in his career.
They couldn't figure out where they wanted him when Bonilla came back. But he's played with a bad elbow. He's played with the foot fasciitis. Everything he could possibly have, and he keeps playing through it and putting up amazing numbers. There's Big Mac.
Well, think what you will about McGuire. Everybody has their own opinion, it seems. He is enjoying being back in uniform and coaching these hitters. 1-1 pitch. Pujols takes a breaking ball and scorches it up the middle. Matt Holliday stops at second. And it'll be an RBI opportunity for Colby Rasmus coming up.
Well, in a way, that's not the worst thing to happen, to have Pujols just get a single off of you. He is just a monster with a bat in his hand, and Rasmus is the second-year player that, you know, you can work a little bit tougher against. So if you make a mistake, Pujols might lose it. Make a mistake, Rasmus might pop it up.
Not great speed out there for St. Louis. Rasmus hitting .270. This kid's hit 7 home runs. Broke onto the scene last year when he hit 16 homers, drove in 52 runs. In 147 games as a rookie. Former first rounder back in '05 out of Columbus, Georgia. Actually, that's where he was born, but he is actually from Alabama, right across the border, a town called Phoenix City. Stammen misses up high 2-0, and he's getting himself
in a jam,
into a pickle here.
Yep. Well, lefty's hitting .315 against Stammen. Righty's hitting .284 coming into tonight. Way too hittable. And he just does not seem to be the type of pitcher that they swing and miss a lot on.
Pretty good rip on a pitch up, 2-1.
And that doesn't mean you can't get anybody out up here. I mean, the Cardinals just faced a guy in Bronson Arroyo that they said never topped over 87 miles an hour yesterday. And he just basically stuck it to him. It's about location. Locate your pitches. Make them hit. If you're a contact guy like Livan Hernandez, make them hit that ball going away from him or going up and in on him. He's just not out there to throw batting practice.
3-1. Third baseman David Freese is next. They've had a parade of third basemen in recent years. Troy Gloss. Mark DeRosa.
One Scott Rowland left here. So we really haven't found a guy to replace him.
That ball's going to drop in right field. Here comes the runner. Throw from Willie Harris. Cut off. 1-0 St. Louis. There were 2 outs and nobody on. And Colby Rasmus drives in his 17th run of the year.
Well, you don't want a team to get healthy against you, but Stammen right now is throwing too many pitches in the hitting zone, and they're being struck well. And Rasmus, even though he broke his bat, hit that quite well. Holiday running on contact with 2 outs, scores easily.
Big, strong right-handed batter. (27 years of age). They got him from San Diego, David Freese, in a deal for Jim Edmonds a couple of years ago. And this guy's been in the minor leagues for a while, out of the University of South Alabama, a very good collegiate program. On a breaking ball away, well hit. Willie Harris at the wall, cannot make the play. 2 runs will score. Freeze to third. 3-0 St. Louis.
Well, he overthrew the slider for a ball. It comes back with the fastball, and it just gets shellacked into right field. Willie Harris makes a valiant try. And I've said this before, Bob, if it goes over the outfielders' heads, it's my fault, meaning the pitcher. So Stammen, 2 quick outs, and then this mess. This is a big game for the Nationals. It's not like he can go out there and try to find his stuff, give up 5 or 6 runs in the first couple of innings.
Well, this game could be the difference between a winning road trip and a 3-6 road trip, because the Nats are staring Chris Carpenter in the face tomorrow night. So this is a very important opener of this short series. You don't want to have to beat a guy like that to salvage a decent road trip.
Well, and they were so close to winning the last 3 games in Colorado. You wanted to try to stick close to these guys. Adelano pitched well, not great, but well enough to keep us in the ball game and only give up 1 run. Levon pitched well. I mean, it's just
Yadier Molina gets jammed and drives in a run. That breaks an 0 for 7, and St. Louis puts a 4 on the board in the first inning. A walk and 4 consecutive hits.
Well, when you allow the hitters to be comfortable and you're hardly ever wild within that strike zone, and I mean cutting a couple loose up underneath someone's chin to keep them honest, they're not going to back off the plate. They're going to stand there until you back them off the plate. It's about results up here, and right now it's ugly.
8th man to bat, Skip Schumacher, hitting .232 despite a 6-game hitting streak, and they're going up hacking now. This is a ball club that has lost 9 of their last 12 with little offense, and the 2-out walk took that door and put it ajar, and they have busted it open here early. Schumacher 4 for his last 10. Another homegrown player, 5th rounder 9 years ago. And it's out of play to the left side, 1-2. And you never want to see the pitcher bat in the first inning. Kyle Loesch can hit.
Well,
170 career average.
We've talked about this too, Bob, is when your game plan and the game plan went by the wayside, probably with Albert Pujols' hit. And that's just, it's ugly right now. You gotta shelve your game plan. We've said this about Craig before. You can't just continue to, all right, I'm going to throw a fastball to get ahead and throw my. It's not about that. You're playing a baseball game. And right now, they're taking it to you. 4 runs in the first inning. You got to figure out how to get out of this inning.
And then Yadier Molina, who has stolen 5 bases, but not a fast runner, catches the Nats by surprise.
And I'm going to tell you why he did that, too. Because he can read the body language of Craig Stammen. And Craig Stammen's so caught up in what's going on right now, he wasn't even thinking about the guy on first.
Well, here's the other thing about that play. Adam Kennedy was rushing. That's why he dropped it. Even if he would have caught that ball, Yadier Molina was going to be safe at second base.
Your baseball players first. Pitchers, catchers, everything else. You're a baseball player. You're playing a baseball game.
Basketball, they call it court awareness.
Yep.
And a 1-2 coming. Bouncing ball right side. Kennedy, a good play, leads Stammen to the bag. And that's really well done by Adam Kennedy. St. Louis gets a walk and 4 hits, leading now 4-0. Nats are down big early. That's the first bad first inning they've had in quite a while. Here's Debbie Taylor with our AFCIA sideline report. Visit AFCIA.org, the association for IT pros. Debbie?
Josh Willingham is hitting cleanup today. Adam Dunn is out of the lineup for the 2nd day in a row. He is still suffering flu-like symptoms, and he told me in the clubhouse before the game that he's feeling really weak. However, he is available to pinch hit if needed later in the game. Bob?
Well, let's hope Jim Riggleman gets this game back close enough to use a pinch hitter like Dunn. It'll be Willingham, Pudge Rodriguez, and Adam Kennedy in the top of the 2nd. Willingham at the plate when Willie Harris was gunned out stealing. And that kept Kyle Loesch to a 9-pitch first inning. Josh, 2 homers, 5 RBIs in his last 6 starts. Batting average down a bit, but the on-base percentage is still up there at .413 because of his 26 walks, 3rd most in the league.
Well, now you got to try to salvage this game, and you got to try to score a couple of quick runs here off Loesch,
who comes into the ball game with an ERA of 5.68. Pudge in a bit of a spin offensively. Willingham, a good take. Josh's knowledge of the strike zone this year has really been remarkable. 22 strikeouts, 26 walks.
Well, I also think that he's not fighting for his job in left field, and he doesn't have to worry about whether or not he's going to be platooned for. So now he's comfortable up there, and he's doing a great job of accepting what's thrown to him. And if they're going to give him walks, take the walks, and especially having the coverage of Pudge Rodriguez behind it. That's got to be nice for the Hammer, too.
So his 27th walk of the year, and Kyle Loesch, well, that's a bad mistake. Your team gives you 4 runs, you come out and walk the leadoff guy.
I'm sure their analyst over there is annoyed, too, right now.
Oh, I know Al Raboski is.
Well, and the reason, and it says nothing to do with Craig Stammen personally. You want to see a guy start making adjustments in his game when you've seen almost every start this year be pretty much the same MO. You need to go out there and get angry. This is your job. I've said this before. Brian Bruni got sent out of here because it's not about watching a guy throw 95 all over creation. It's about getting people out, period. I don't care if you ground them out, pop them up, strike them out, just get them out.
That ball well hit by Pudge. Took off a bit on Ludwig, who makes the adjustment and the catch for the first out. The Nats have had some good whacks at Kyle Loesch so far. Steven Strasburg's next 2 starts. Syracuse will be on the road for 1 and home for the other. Both carried on MASN. 11:30 p.m. or following Nats Extra tomorrow night, whichever comes first. And then Sunday live at 5 p.m. Nationals, of course, will be home playing the Orioles earlier that day.
You would think a couple guys would be nervous about losing their job. I mean, Strasburg's taking somebody's job when he gets up here.
And there's Adam Kennedy lofting one to left center for Matt Holliday.
Oh, they're hitting him pretty good. So
line drives are right at people. But the Nats getting good swings, and Ian Desmond will be next. Kennedy played here in St. Louis. Warmly greeted by his ex-teammates before the game. They know what kind of guy he is.
Oh, yeah.
And that he was not healthy when he was here. And their fans did not see the real Adam Kennedy, who, by the way, started in the St. Louis organization and was traded to Anaheim years ago in a deal involving Jim Edmonds. Seems like everybody on the show tonight was traded for Jim Edmonds. Ian Desmond hitting 246. He was drafted by the Expos. No trades involved with this young man. Pretty good pitch by Loesch. Didn't get the call. It's 2-0.
What did Lou Piniella say about his Cubs? I don't care about your reputation. Just win some games.
Yeah, he said, I don't want to talk about who's getting at bats and who's not getting at bats. Win some games. Some reporter asked, well, should Tyler Colvin, the rookie, be getting more at bats? And Lou Piniella gave him one of those "Are you out of your mind?" looks and said, let's win some ball games. It's pretty simple, Rob, when you take away some of the unnecessary science. 2-1. And Desmond into right field. That ball is down in front of Ludwig. Stopping at second base, Josh Willingham. That'll get Roger Bernardina to the plate here with 2 men aboard.
Well, and what I love about the Nationals this year as opposed to last year, they didn't have a lot of options. They didn't have, you know, the way to go and get a bunch of guys. They did this offseason. They got a lot of good personnel in here this offseason. But you had what you had last year. You had a bad ball club. Now you have a lot of really good players. Mike Rizzo's done a great job, and this team expects to win every day. They show up expecting to win, and if you're not going to produce for them, you're not going to be here long.
By the way, down the hallway from us is a room that has a sign on the door. It says VIPs with a Nationals logo under it. It's empty. The general manager is sitting down in the stands. Mike Rizzo, as we mentioned many times during a ball game, is a man with the people down there, wants to see his ball club from field level.
And he could care less about Strasburg or anybody else that's not in the big leagues right now. Mike Rizzo wants to win tonight's game here in St. Louis. He doesn't want to hear anything else. And so, you know, the players shouldn't worry about Strasburg. They shouldn't worry about Storen. They should worry about their own jobs right now.
Bernardina ahead. Roger hitting .429 his last 6 games. And a breaking ball that Loesch drops in there. Counts even 1-1.
Very nice. Wow. That's 4 games. Lighten it up.
Dimitri Young would say them's high school numbers. Changeup. He missed with it, down and in. Willingham walked leading off the inning after 2 line drive outs into the outfield. Ian Desmond went opposite field and dropped one in front of Ludwig in right. And Bernardina now has a 2-1 count. Pitcher on deck. St. Louis doesn't want to make a mistake to the number 8 hitter here.
You know who I like in Loesch too? Oliver Perez. They waited a long time. Wins 15 games. You give him a 3-year contract. They give this guy a 4-year deal off the 15 wins. 40-something million.
Nationals are not sure if Oliver Perez is pitching on Wednesday. There's a TBD.
Yeah, they bounced him out of the rotation. And even with the injury to Nice pulled his hamstring again. He's still not going back in the rotation.
2-2. And Bernardino lifts one high in the air down the right field line, close to the pole, and foul.
Just missed. Come on, Roger.
Hit 2 of those fair in New York last week.
Two, trying to get inside, actually threw a looked like a 2-seam running fastball that went at him and then over the strike zone. I don't think Yadier Molina wanted it there.
And a 2-2 that he taps. Ball going right by him. And well played by Kyle Loesch with the runner flashing by. Nationals almost had the bases loaded. They'll strand a couple and trail 4-0. Night falling on downtown St. Louis. They've been playing baseball downtown here since 1966. Come out to our ballpark on Thursday. Force 3 Military Appreciation Night. And the Nats take on the Mets at 7:05. Come early. First 15,000 fans receive a free camouflage Curly W hat presented by Force 3. Get your tickets at nationals.com. And don't forget, it's a short homestand. Mets for 2 Wednesday and Thursday. And then the Orioles for the weekend interleague baseball. Stammen throws one upstairs to Kyle Loesch, who already has 4 hits and an RBI this year. And as mentioned earlier, a 170 career hitter. In there for a strike.
I had Hall of Famer Jim Palmer on my radio show this morning, and we talked a lot about young pitchers today. And we agree on an awful lot, and a lot of it has to do with pitching away from contact. I'll tell you in a second what he said.
And the pitcher's going to have a base hit unless Guzman reaches it, which he does. All right, let me lead you into that by asking you, and not all the kids pitch in college, but in college, with those aluminum bats, you pretty much have to pitch away from contact. Rob, is that hurting these guys?
I think so, and I also think that, you know, too much of the videotape and the too many pitchers meetings and watching videotape on the hitting, I think, is maybe psyching these guys out. But Jim talked about his first roommate ever, and I've said this before, was Robin Roberts, and there was a reason they put him with a 38-year-old pitcher when he was 19. And that was to talk him through trying to strike everybody out. And they said, listen, Jim, you don't have to work so hard. You go out there, pitch more to contact, get more 7-pitch innings, and you'll go deeper and you'll complete more games. And obviously it worked. Jim Palmer's in the Hall of Fame, and 6 times, I think, or 5 times he went over 300 innings. But the point being is a lot of young pitchers work way too hard, throw 100 pitches by the 5th inning, because they're trying so hard not to have the ball hit off them. Eventually, you're going to have to let them hit the ball, no matter who you are. Nolan
Ryan, becomes a double-edged sword.
Yep.
Because when you fall behind doing that, then you have to throw it over the plate. And that's what
they're in the
to chuck
driver's
and
seat.
duck.
Right, and then you're putting them in the driver's seat by saying, I'm afraid of you. I don't want to come to you with that first pitch strike.
He goes around the back door trying to strike out Felipe Lopez, who bounced out to Christian Guzman, first time up. Felipe 12 for 45 for the Cardinals, playing in only his 16th game. Batting .235 or so from the left side.
But a well-placed fastball, I don't care if it's 85 or 95, it's still the best pitch in baseball. Not your big breaking ball, not your changeup, a well-placed fastball.
He went. Home plate umpire Jerry Davis will call him out without an appeal. And Stammen has his second strikeout.
And that was some of the best movement he's had on a fastball tonight, Bob, and that's what we talked about in the open.
2 outs and nobody on for the second consecutive inning. During the second inning, we talk about all things number 2. Doubles leader since 01. Nats just saw Todd Helton. Here's Mr. Pujols. Jimmy Rollins back in the Phillies lineup tonight and batting third because Chase Utley has the flu. Call for the Luna double. Get your second room of flooring free at 877-241-LUNA. Breaking ball to Ludwig. Right field line. Willie Harris getting there. And he drops the ball. Ludwig heading for second. And that will get Matt Holliday to the plate here in the second inning. Not an easy play, but a catchable ball, and we'll see how they score it.
No, that's a hit.
I'd say error, but we'll see.
No, he ran it a long way for that.
You're correct. They give him a hit.
You're a tough official scorer. I know he dropped it, but that was going to be a tough play. He maybe should have dove. But
I think that home cooking tastes pretty good on a play like that.
Oh, yeah. And it should.
Here's Matt Holliday.
Well, would you say the flip-flopping of Holiday and Pujols paid off in the first inning for them? He walked, and then Pujols got a hit.
Yeah. You know what? I'm pretty sure Stammen would have walked Pujols with 2 outs. And then who knows what Matt Holliday would have done. But, you know, La Russa is an interesting manager in one respect. He likes a power guy in the #2 spot where Ryan Ludwig is tonight. He did it years ago here when they picked up Larry Walker. He did it in Oakland with Carney Lansford, who had power. And then Tony also told me once he did it in Chicago with Carlton Fisk. There was a time when he batted him second with the White Sox. He likes to have that fearsome presence up near the top of the lineup. There's Holiday with a little tapper. Stammen with the bare hand plays it well. And St. Louis is gone in the second. After 2 innings, it's all Cardinals at 4-0. Stammen a good hitter to lead off. Another big crowd here in St. Louis. Top of the 3rd coming up. Harris, Guzman to follow Stammen. Upcoming schedule tomorrow night. John Lannon, Chris Carpenter. The Mets are in on Wednesday and Thursday, and then the Orioles come in for the weekend. Livan Hernandez against an undetermined Mets pitcher. On Wednesday, Luis Adelano and John Maine, who's 1-3 with a high ERA, on Thursday. Craig Stammen has really swung the bat well this year. He has 5 hits in 14 at-bats and 4 runs batted in, 3 of them in his most recent start.
Well, if he keeps pitching this way, he can go pull a Rick Ankiel.
And a good take on a breaking ball, 1-2.
You need to see more. Stammen, Landon's got the bad elbow, but Stammen's got to start showing a little bit more out there on the hill.
Did he go? Yes, he did, says Sam Holbrook, and Stammen's gone. First strikeout for Kyle Loesch. Top of the order now, Harris and Guzman.
Good change up right there. Didn't look like he went, but when you're a pitcher, they'll consider you a hitter, whether it's right or wrong.
Other games involving the East tonight. Phillies at home lead Pittsburgh 7-2 in the 6th, and the Mets at Atlanta 3-2 in the 7th. Marlins are down to the Diamondbacks 4-0 in the 5th inning. Those are the other teams in our division in action tonight. Phillies right now have a 4-game lead over the Nationals and the Marlins. Florida's won 4 straight, and also 20-18 like Washington. Willie Harris single to right field first time. Pulls it again. Albert Pujols waiting for it. His fielding stance a lot like his batting stance. Feet wide apart, 2 outs. He's won a Gold Glove over there and hasn't made an error this year. 2 outs now for Guzman. Nationals lost 5 out of 6 to St. Louis last year. Actually 6 out of 7. 4-game series at home, 3-game series here. And the schedule is quirky again this year. The Nationals play 2 here, but get St. Louis at Nationals Park for 4 on the final weekend of August. Guzman looks at a strike, and it's 1-2. If the inning continues, Ryan Zimmerman, who pinned Ludwig up against the bullpen wall first time. Guzman gone, so are the Nats in the 3rd. Kyle Loesch with a couple of strikeouts. Not a good start to this short series. 4-0 St. Louis. Cardinals have out-hit the Nationals 5-2 and lead 4-0 here in the 3rd inning. Now Adam Dunn was supposed to be in the lineup tonight. Rob, he was scratched. When you lose a guy like that out of your lineup, what does that do to the rest of those spots? Because now Jim Riggleman had to ship 3 or 4 guys around.
Well, I think for a guy like Ian Desmond, he wasn't going to play tonight, and now he's excited, so he came up and got a hit in his first at bat. For some of the other guys, they may try to do a little too much the first couple of times through. Hopefully they can settle down and not try to fill the role of Adam Dunn, who they've missed mightily the last couple of games. Just go out, do what you're capable of doing. Kyle Loesch, as I said before, eventually you're going to get to him. You just got to wait him out.
Albert Pujols, bottom of the 3rd inning. And Stammen gets it low and away from him. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pujols took a breaking ball up the middle first inning. Kept that frame alive until Colby Rasmus could drive in a run. And then David Freese and Molina followed with hits to drive in 3 more.
Well, and it's imperative, I mean imperative, that Craig Stammen hold them right there.
40 pitches in the first 2 innings, but only 10 in the second. And he pitched around the dropped ball in right field. 2-1 to Pujols. Last year he hit a walk-off homer in this ballpark in the bottom of the 9th against Jason Bergman. He was swinging for the seats that time, and it's 3-2.
And I like it. The last couple of pitches, the last 2 were 92-mile-an-hour fastballs, and he's got a good arm, and he's got to test it. I know he had the off-season elbow surgery, or the elbow surgery at the end of last season. Attaboy, let it go.
Will be Rasmus, the center fielder, on deck, and then David Freese, the 3rd baseman. Stammen's given up 4 home runs this year. And this will be another line drive hit for Pujols. Bernardina over to cut it off.
Go ahead, test his arm.
Yeah, he's always been a rather risky base runner.
You were dead on that one.
Stays home that time, and he's 2 for 2. Here's that first inning after the Pujols hit.
Well, the walk, then the Pujols hit, then Rasmus hit, then Freese hits a triple. And it just, then Molina got a little jam shot. It was a good pitch right there. But when it rains, it pours. But you know what? It's over. Try to move on and try to just minimize the damage right now. Give your team an opportunity to come back in this ball game.
Rasmus pulling the ball for an RBI, first time up. Rasmus went to Russell County High School in Phoenix City, Alabama, and he broke Bo Jackson's home run record there. But as far as I know, he didn't run for any touchdowns. And by the way, we have rain falling in St. Louis. It's been very dreary but dry all day. Strike 2 out of play left side.
I almost feel like St. Louis is the center of the baseball universe. Whenever we came here, I felt all those old Cardinal teams that played there.
Well, they had their 10 world championships flying on top of their scoreboard up there, the pennants from those.
It's a great place to play and great place to be a visiting team coming in.
Well, I thought Jim Riggleman had a pretty good answer to Debbie Taylor with a question about that today. When he said, you know, you come to a place like this and you see what it's like when you win and you establish tradition. It gives you a vision of what your ballpark can be like someday if you do it the right way. On a good breaking ball by Stammen, Rasmus is gone. Craig's 3rd strikeout.
Well, and you want respect, you got to earn it. You know, no one's going to give it to you because you had a good month of April. You know, you're going to have to go out there and continually win and be competitive. And there's a good pitch by Stammen. Good 12-6 breaking ball, which he possesses.
Good play by Pudge. First base occupied, so no need for a tag or no opportunity for the hitter to run. And here's the third baseman, David Freese.
And I felt that in the minor leagues as a Red. I came in right after the Big Red Machine in '82, '83, and there was a lot of hatred towards our organization and respect at the same time. And it was a good feeling. No one liked to play us. That's the way you want to be. You should want no one to want to play the Nationals. And that's respect.
The only time things get out of hand in a place like this is when you lose 9 out of 12. You're still 4 games over 500. You're a half game out of first place, and everybody thinks the sky is falling.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, there are a lot of fans who would love to trade places in the standings with the Cardinals right now, but they're used to winning here. Bouncer to deep short. Over behind to Desmond. Guzman turns it out on a close play at first. It'll be a dandy 6-4-3 double play for the Nats. Top of the fourth coming up. Ryan Zimmerman did a lot of damage in Colorado no matter what the weather was. Zimmerman, Willingham, and Pudge coming up. John McLaren doing some bench coaching there, having a chat with Willie Harris. And a pretty good turn of this double play started by Desmond to Guzman.
Well, that was a high fastball, but it had some good giddy up on it. Gets him to ground it down. Desmond makes a heck of a play and a great turn by Guzman. So you asked me the question. I mean, these guys are making adjustments on the fly. Guzman thought he'd be playing short. Desmond thought he'd be probably spitting sunflower seeds most of the game. And now you're in the game and you got to make some great plays. And so give him a lot of credit.
Ryan Zimmerman, top of the fourth. Nearly doubled our homered here, first time up, going opposite field. Kyle Loesch, 37 pitches, 22 strikes in his first 3 innings, and he goes 1-1.
I think Zim needed a little rain like Colorado. We needed this little mist. I think we're going to be fine right now.
All right.
There you go. Swirling mist.
That's live. We do not have that on tape from previous stops.
It's following us.
2-2. Ryan coming off a big weekend in Colorado. The hammer is next. And a 2-2 had him reaching. Slow roller out to short. Felipe Lopez.
Safe.
Zimmerman called
goodness.
out by Sam Holbrook.
Wow. This is a tight play right here. Great hustle by Zim coming down the line. Lopez just did get him. So play.
I bet the umpire heard
bang, bang.
Boom, boom.
Yep, you hear that smack of the ball in the mitt. You're looking at the bag. So Lopez back from, what was it? He had a sore arm?
Elbow.
Sore elbow?
Did that happen?
Oh, that's
after
right.
He pitched in that 20 inning game.
That's right. He pitched in that 20 inning game and he got a sore elbow.
And in that game, he pitched a scoreless inning, giving up 1 hit, 1 walk. But did not figure in the decision.
And I wondered why they didn't bring him back for a second inning, because he looked great in the first inning.
Here's Josh Willingham, who walked his first time. Kyle Loesch, one of those guys who almost goes off the full old-time windup, taking the glove up above his cap. Don't see too many guys do this anymore. That's on the corner, a good pitch. Kyle's been around for a while, 31 years of age, 0-1 with Minnesota.
2-1 pitch at the knees. Nice little, looked like a cut fastball.
Willingham gone.
Change up.
Strikeout number 3.
No, Loesch has always had great stuff back when he was with the Twins. And then he went over to the Phillies and figured it out for about 2 months. And then went to the Cardinals and learned that little cut sinking fastball by Dave Duncan. And he won 15 games. And you thought, okay, now he's going to take off. Then last year, ran into a couple of injuries. And what was he, 6-9? And
6-10 with a 4.74.
And he's almost back to his old bag of tricks. 0-3 to start the year with a 5+ ERA.
Pudge Rodriguez jumps on the first one. 2 Skip Schumacher, and the Nats go in order again. 7 straight for Loesch, and 9 of his last 10 in a 4-0 game. Game summary, 3.5 innings. It's all St. Louis. Big blow. David Freese, a 3-run triple off the right center field wall. Craig Stammen roughed up early. He's turned things around lately. Kyle Loesch, 4 good innings. But something happened to him, Rob, on the last out of the 4th inning.
Well, it looks like he reaches for this ball by Pudge and goes right up to the side of his neck. And as he comes off, he just looks like he might have pulled something or cramped up in the neck or something.
Trainer Barry Weinberg with La Russa there. And it's bottom of the 4th inning. Bottom 3 against Stammen, starting with Yadier Molina.
Well, he's got a helmet on and a bat.
Rain continuing to mist down here. This ball high in the air, over by the tarp, out of play. Yadier Molina told me today that Pudge Rodriguez was one of the catchers he watched very closely when he was a youngster. About 13, 14 years apart in age. Well, probably not that much, probably about 11 years. And of course, he watched his brothers a lot too, Jose and Benji, but he has always admired the way Pudge plays behind the plate. Very athletic, very active. And that is the way Molina plays as well. He's easily the most athletic of the 3 Molina brothers back there.
Well, Scott Olson told me last night. I asked him, I said, well, how do you like throwing to Pudge after his start? And he told me, he said, I love this guy. He said he went the whole day yesterday, maybe shook him off once or twice, but he totally trusts Pudge behind the plate.
Willie Harris puts away the routine fly.
There's Pudge going to the Hall of Fame someday. Most games caught behind the dish ever in the history of this game.
Skip Schumacher bounced down on a good play by Adam Kennedy first time. The one thing that you look at the St. Louis offense and wonder about is who is the leadoff man. Schumacher has done that a bit the last couple of years, but he's hitting .230 right now.
Yeah, they don't have a true leadoff guy.
And Brendan Ryan is in a slump. They're normal shortstop, so they have Felipe Lopez there tonight. And I think all of us know that Felipe Lopez is not a true leadoff guy. Just doesn't get on base enough. There's Ryan, who's 0 for his last 12 and batting .162.
Well, they took a big risk going with a young guy at third this year, thinking that he would, or excuse me, in Freese, but also in Ryan. Rasmus last year. So they've cleaned house on a lot of older guys over the last few years.
Brendan Ryan hit .292 last year and .289 the year before that. That's why they didn't hold on to Khalil Green.
They haven't had a real leadoff guy since David Eckstein, though.
True.
And Tony loved him. But everybody gets old.
And David's still
plugging away with San Diego.
Making
They're
$1
winning.
million this year as a non-roster invitee to spring training and doing a good job leading those young Padres. 2-2 from Stammen to Schumacher. Really got jammed. Adam Kennedy takes care of that, and now the pitcher coming up. Battle of the Beltways coming to Nationals Park Friday night. Orioles coming in. On Saturday, the first 20,000 fans through the gates receive a free Nationals cap presented by ExxonMobil. Get your tickets at nationals.com. 7 o'clock Friday night, 4 o'clock special starting time on Saturday, and then 1:30 on Sunday. First pitch swinging, two-hopper Ian Desmond. Cardinals go quickly in the fourth. And for the Nats, Kennedy, Desmond, and Bernardina coming up in a 4-0 game. Top of the fifth inning, rain falling in St. Louis, Missouri. Kennedy, Desmond, and Bernardina for the Nats. Out hit by St. Louis 6-2 and trailing 4-0. Adam Kennedy lined to right first time up. Loesch, good command right now. 7 batters in a row. 9 of the last 10. Only Desmond single back in the second, interrupting that. Adam Kennedy, originally drafted by the Cardinals. And that was out of Cal State Northridge, where he was a 3-time All-American. Drafted him back in the first round, 20th overall player taken in '97. Who he got a pitch up, waited for it, and knocks it into center field for a base hit.
Whereas maybe today, they might have second thoughts on drafting him.
Because?
His size.
Oh.
They're going with big guys now.
All right. Drew Storen may be coming into this ball game if the Nats get down to the number 9 spot here. Our friend Brian James from Rockville would like to know where we think Drew fits into the bullpen.
And if you want to know what he's doing right now, he's putting some red hot or stuff to heat up his arm a little bit. Helps you loosen up. He fits in pretty much mop-up guy, middle relief, short man, and the better he does, the quicker he'll be getting more opportunities. But you know, Jim Riggleman, I'm sure, got reports on him, but Jim Riggleman's worried about the major leagues. He's not worried about the numbers in the minor leagues. I've said this for the last year and 6 weeks. The minor leagues mean nothing to anybody up here. Doesn't matter what you did down there. It's only what you do up here. And so as soon as Drew gets in, it'd actually be a good situation to come into this game. Not a lot of pressure. Go out there, throw some strikes, get that giant monkey off your back. Because remember, this kid has been living this dream to this point, to this day. And it finally was realized yesterday when they told me he was coming up to the major league. So there's a lot of anxiousness, a lot of nervousness. And I don't care that you went to Stanford. Everybody feels the same. You're sick to your stomach until you actually get out there and start playing some baseball, which is what you know how to do.
Good question. Ask about the Nats at MASNsports.com. Up the middle, that ball is through from the bat of Ian Desmond, who's 2 for 2. And the Nats have something going, and they could be hitting here for Craig Stammen pretty quickly. Roger Bernardina coming up. Couple of guys just stood up in the bullpen. Somebody may start warming up in a hurry.
Couple of knocks for a guy who wasn't going to play tonight, Bob. So Ian Desmond's got 2 hits tonight, and he's a happy young man at this moment.
Got that right. His 30th hit of the season.
Okay, could you run into one, Mr. Bernardina? Come on. Stay hot, baby. Oh, we like it cold. We like it rainy. We like it to stop today.
Nobody throwing in the bullpen, so evidently Stammen's going to stay. Jim Riggleman pleased with the way he's turned his night around. And if Bernardina can knock in a run or two, then you're right back in the game. Stammen has had 2 10-pitch innings in his last 3 frames. And his second time through the batting order only gave up 2 hits. Double play ball erased one of those. Bernardina, little chopper thrown out by Loesch on the first baseline first time. That's another chopper right over the mound. They're going to have to hurry.
Safe.
That ball is thrown away, and a run will score. Schumacher, maybe a wet ball by the time he picked it up, and he launches one into the dugout, and Kennedy scores, and the other runners will end up at second and third. And Rob, I think Bernardina would have beaten it out anyway, and they give him a base hit.
Yeah, he had it beat. It's a base hit with a throwing error, but well, this is what speed does for you right here, and I love it at the bottom of the order. It's a chopper over the mound. It's just Schumacher with a bad throw right here, and I don't know what he was throwing at, but he wasn't throwing at Albert Pujols. I think he was throwing at the shadow of Roger Bernardina running by. But sometimes we say this about our guys: eat the ball. Just eat it. Grab it. Say, I can't make a play on it. Maybe Desmond rounds third or something, and you maybe throw him out. But that was a helpful error for us.
Stammen looks at another breaking ball, this one up and in. As mentioned, Craig's hitting the ball well this year, 5 for 15. Desmond at third, Bernardina at second. Blinding speed on the bases for the Nats. Missing 2 and 1 outside is Loesch.
No, and if you can help it here, you can pick up 1, maybe 2 more runs. You're right back in the thick of things. But you got to have at least 1 run. This is what we weren't able to do in Colorado, which is what we've been doing well all year, is runners in scoring position, cashing them in.
Ball 3 on a changeup.
Wow, that was a pretty good pitch to the pitcher.
Loesch doesn't like the call from Jerry Davis.
I think it gets called low, but it's a pretty good pitch right there.
Yeah, it was a hard sinking fastball. Looked
take
like
it,
a
though.
changeup. And it's 3 and 1 now. That ball elevated enough to be a strike.
Well, it was a good take right there. It was probably had the take sign on anyway, but that pitch was a little bit away from you. You don't want to just be an out. You want to have a productive, to use your word, productive at bat.
Stammen gone.
That's not a productive at bat.
No. Hey, if you're a good hitting pitcher and it's 3 and 1, you see 2 strikes, swing the bat. That's the first out of the inning.
And the 2-1 pitch was the same thing. It was a fastball on the black, and then 2 more fastballs on the black.
And that's the identical pitch to the one that was called ball 3. This time it's a strike. Stammen took a half of a hack at it. And let's see if Willie Harris can salvage the inning. Still only 1 out. Plenty of opportunity out there.
And he needs a tongue depressor so he can clean his spikes.
Shoes getting all cakey here in the light rain of St. Louis, but it's been coming down now for about a half hour. And Jim Riggleman has been thrown out of the game for what?
Probably arguing those last couple of pitches.
Rick Eckstein in the background, really angry. And I think what's going on here, Rob, the same pitch that was ball 3 to Stammen 2 pitches later was strike 3. Now, maybe Jim Riggleman was coming out trying to save Rick Eckstein from being thrown out.
Possibly.
Because if Riggleman comes out, he's automatically ejected. So we'll see who goes here. If it's Riggleman, John McLaren will take over. And Jerry Davis continues to stare into the dugout. Looks like Rick Eckstein has been tossed.
Ricky.
David Freese is on the grass at third, and here's a very important at bat for the Nats here. A high changeup that Willie Harris couldn't make contact with.
Come on, Willie. Take that pitch the other way into left center field.
And in these conditions, the way things are right now, the pressure's on the pitcher and the defense.
Oh, yeah, it's nasty, it's wet, and if a ball can skip in between the outfielders, that's 2, maybe a double or triple.
0-1 to Harris. Breaking ball in there. Desmond singled cleanly up the middle. Bernardina chopped one over the mound. Desmond on third. Roger 90 feet behind him. And a changeup that had Willie Harris dancing.
And going back to Stammen, I mean, all he had to do is put the ball on the ground to the right side to the second baseman and scores a run, moves Bernardina over to third with one out. You'd be trying to drive in your third run.
Target way outside. And the pitch misses even further away. 2-2.
One thing I like about Scott Olson, he took full responsibility for not getting the guys over on the bunt yesterday late in the ball game.
Harris on a pitch really fading into the dirt, getting a piece of it.
The one word that we didn't have in the first half of last year, Bob, accountability. Player accountability. These guys hold each other accountable. They hold themselves accountable. And that's why they're a team. And I'm not really worried how the rest of the road trip turns out. I think they're going to be fine. You can fix the pitching. And you know you got another guy with an S in his name coming soon. And you got a bunch of guys coming off the DL at the midway point.
Willie Harris will bounce one right side. That will score a run. Schumacher to Pujols. RBI for Willie Harris, his 10th of the year, and now it's a 2-run game with a runner at third base.
And that was a productive at bat.
Let's check out the smartphone here. A phone that's been outsmarting us.
Yeah.
Between 56 and 68, 3 National League pitchers won MVP and Cy Young awards in the same season. Who were they? I know one was Bob Gibson.
68.
56.
MVP and Cy Young. 56.
That was Sandy Koufax's heyday.
Like 64, 65, 66 were like his.
Yeah. That's when he was just unhittable. Kristen Guzman trying to make this a 1-run game. Target in from Molina. Spins Guzzi out of there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Don Drysdale. Well, there's one. Gibson, 45.
1.12 ERA in 68. Yeah, Koufax sounds good.
Yeah, Koufax and Drysdale, I think, each won 1.
Dodgers were amazing back then.
What about Don Sutton?
I don't think he was there yet. I don't think that was his era.
They're telling me it was a Don. Just not those 2 Dons. Not Drysdale, not Sutton. Don Hooten.
Guzman rolls it to Schumacher, who's had a busy inning. The Nats will settle for 2. Back in the game, though, 3 hits and an error. And it's a 4-2 game halfway through. Nationals baseball on MASN, brought to you by Nissan. Right now, get a great deal on your new Nissan during Nissan's National Tent event. See a Nissan dealer today. And by Range Rover, the luxury that's more than a luxury. Looking right into Busch Stadium from out near the Gateway Arch. And we go to the bottom of the 5th inning here in St. Louis. Steven Strasburg will start tomorrow night for Syracuse at Rochester. Game coverage tape delayed 11:30 p.m. or following Nats Extra after the Nats and the Cardinals get together again. And then Sunday, Syracuse at home with the Mud Hens of Toledo. That'll be a 5 o'clock live game for Strasburg's 4th AAA start. Felipe Lopez leads off for St. Louis in the 5th. Ludwig and Holiday to follow. Lopez 0 for 2, ground ball to second and a strikeout. Craig Stammen, who has settled his night down.
As we said, imperative, keep him right there. Now it's only a 2-run lead. I think we're going to get to Loesch.
Big breaking ball down the line, and it is foul.
I think the other Don was Don Newcomb, but I thought it was earlier.
Well, that would go back to 56.
Yeah, that was 56 with the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Okay. So Newcomb, Koufax, and Gibson, huh? In a 13-year span. 56 through 68 inclusive. All right. I'm on board with that. You have the baseball geeks seal of approval.
I was going to say, I got a truck full of people that are smarter than me. Now I got a phone that's smarter than me. I think one of my dogs is smarter than me. Jeez.
Well, I just happened to be reading one of your blogs today on MASNsports.com. And one of the nice Nationals fans that wrote in said, you and Bob really compliment each other well. We have the nasty boy and the baseball geek. Oh, but he said, I mean that in a good way.
Yes.
Well, I'll take that compliment.
Yeah, take that in a good way.
Yeah, I've been called worse. Jeez.
You're just a knowledgeable baseball man.
If that means you're a geek, I'll go buy a pocket protector somewhere tomorrow.
Pocket protector.
I'll get a slide rule. Don't know how to use it, but I'll carry one. I got a couple of pens with corporate logos on them. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Lopez. Big rolling breaking ball. Desmond playing up the middle. Bobbles it, and he just finds it in his bare hand. The ball taking some funny hops on the infield tonight.
Well, it's a little bit wet and nasty out there anyway. Conditions, they look like they're stabilizing as far as the mist, and there you see him. But this kid's got such a great rifle arm. Whoosh. Bye-bye.
And that's 11 of the last 13 for Loesch, with Ludwig and Holiday coming up.
And Stammen just looks like after the first inning, he's pitching with more of a sense of urgency. He's firing fastballs in the low 90s. And I was told before the game, this kid can throw up to 93, 94 miles an hour. Let it go. Start blazing a few fastballs in on people.
Yeah, not too many hitters like a well-placed 93-mile-an-hour heater.
No, and what Steve McCaddy and I talked about is being effectively wild. It doesn't mean ever hitting anybody, but every now and then let one go where guys start thinking, wow, was that intentional that he threw up and in on me, or, you know, threw one at the belt and made me dive off the plate? I mean, that's the kind of stuff you want to put in your opponent's head. That, you know what, at any time I might come inside on you. Yeah, that guy right there, he'd come inside on you for looking at him the wrong way.
He wouldn't talk to an opponent, wouldn't acknowledge an opponent, whether he was pitching that day or not. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I later found out when I got to know Bob Gibson that he actually had a sense of humor. Many of us doubted that, and he's a very funny guy, very delightful, but I mean on the mound and in the when he put that uniform on, he didn't like anybody on the other team.
And that's the way it should be.
Swing and a foul by Ludwig. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bob Gibson was a great basketball player at Creighton University who played for the Harlem Globetrotters before embarking on his professional baseball career. That's what kind of athlete he was. Ludwig 1 for 2 with a double off the glove of Willie Harris. And that one outside third. You know, Robin, I have to be wondering about Kyle Loesch. What effect did that little tweak of his neck have when he gave up 3 hits the following inning?
Well, it might not have hurt him physically, but maybe mentally it just takes you out of your game a little bit. He seemed to be pretty locked in before that little stinger.
Jammed him very well. Fly ball to center for Roger Bernardina. All right, let's pay off our AT&T trivia here. Smartphone's going to take a moment to load because it is so smart after all. Ding. Can you hear me now? There we go. A little research to find Newcomb, but we had Koufax and Gibson off the top of our heads. What a great era for pitching. Koufax, Drysdale, Gibson. Warren Spahn of the Milwaukee Braves during that time. Bob Veal of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Juan Marichal of the Giants. This league had some unbelievable starters. Phillies had Jim Bunning before he went to the American League. Or maybe after he came from the American League. He split time Philadelphia and Detroit.
Yeah,
every pitcher in baseball had a great starter back then.
What messed me up on Don Newcomb was he was the first and only one to ever do this. Rookie of the Year, Most Valuable Player, and Cy Young his rookie year in '49.
And a ball pretty well hit by Holiday. Bernardina is on the track and up against the wall with the catch. That young man can cover some ground. And here come the Nats with Zimmerman, Willingham, and Rodriguez. A 2-run game into the top of the 6th. On to the 6th inning, and there is a Curly W in the ballpark tonight. Should be a lot of them for the weekend. Join us at the ballpark May 22nd, 23rd for the Nationals' 5th annual food drive. You can drop off non-perishable food items at the center field gate from the time the gate opens through the 4th inning. All food collected will benefit the Capital Area Food Bank. Saturday and Sunday when the Nationals tangle with the Orioles. Ryan Zimmerman takes a front door breaking ball for a strike.
Okay, when they put our dudes up on the scoreboard, look, they got the presidents up there. They got the cap. They got Screech up there.
Screech.
Is that what we're known for in Washington? Screech?
No, I think we're known for Ryan Zimmerman. Because when I have been on the radio a couple of times here in the last day or two, he's always the first guy they ask about. All-Star game was here last year. Ryan was here. And a whole world of baseball fans now know what we knew a couple of years ago about this third baseman. Cardinal broadcaster Mike Shannon asked me about Zimmerman today. I said, Mike, who played third base himself, this is all you need to know. He's Brooks Robinson's favorite player.
Yeah.
A little bit low, 2-2.
Another good pitch by Loesch. Didn't get it.
That one got in on him, and a flare to right field. Long run for Ludwig. Plenty of time. And Ryan Zimmerman's 0 for 3 and 0 for 7 since his base hit in game 2 of the doubleheader Saturday that at one time in that Colorado series had him 8 for 13. Josh Willingham will be next.
There's a scoreboard. There you got the presidents. And who's this guy?
A veritable cornucopia.
It's Screech.
Of Washington visual. Glad somebody knew what the Capitol looks like. And there's Albert Pujols under Willingham's foul ball. By the way, that building that you see out beyond left center field on some of our shots going to or coming back from commercials is kind of a mini replica of the Capitol. It's called the old courthouse here. And back in the 1860s, that's where the famous Dred Scott slavery trial was held. That was one of the key legal moments leading up to the Civil War, as our African-American brothers and sisters fought for their freedom.
It is beautiful. Like I was saying early in the game, they switched home plate around. Now it's facing the other way, and McGuire said the ball just doesn't carry like it did when he played here.
Bud Rodriguez on a backhand play by David Freese. Nicely done, and the Nats are done in the top of the 6th inning. Zimmerman, Willingham, and Rodriguez in order. And after 5.5, St. Louis 4-2. Game summary after 5.5 here in St. Louis. Ian Desmond wasn't supposed to start tonight, but he has a couple of hits. Kyle Loesch, 6 innings, 83 pitches, stopping the Nats, 2 runs on 5 hits. Craig Stammen, first inning disaster, Rob, and since then 12 out of 14 retired.
Geico game highlights right here. He has really come back strong, getting ground balls, having good movement, good velocity since the first inning. There you see him jamming Molina. He pops out to right field. Willie Harris going to catch that eventually. So Craig Stammen has settled down now, limiting them to a couple of hits and no runs since the first inning.
Pujols leads off.
Keep it right there.
Albert 2 for 2 and hitting .319. I think the last time at this point of the season he already had about 15 home runs. There's a breaking ball that stays inside. He looked like he was on a pace to hit somewhere between 50 and 60 home runs. And then you have to say he cooled off to hit only 47. Just didn't have the second half of the season. He did. That was a big cut. He did lead the National League with those 47 and 135 RBIs.
He's just an amazing player, though. Made himself into a Gold Glove first baseman. There's the winningest team since 2000.
Three and one. Pujols got the most votes of any player for the All-Star team in this decade. One of the reasons St. Louis is the best in this league behind the Yankees and the Red Sox. Only 2 National League teams in the top 5 there. Pujols fouls it off of his foot, and it's 3-2.
Two of those teams at it tonight, Bob. Yankees and Red Sox. Go figure. They play each other like every other week.
And it's a low-scoring game again, 7-6 in the 7th. I think they started at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Just kidding. 3-2 to Pujols, leading off the 6th. And he's on base for the 3rd time. Stammen's second walk of the game. Possibly his last inning due to bat in the 7th, 4th in that frame. And Colby Rasmus will be next.
Well, and I think that Pujols is frustrating for any pitcher. You want to do your best against him. Maybe overthrown a little bit the last couple of times to try to get him out. Did challenge him with fastballs the last time. You got a base hit. So it's not the worst thing in the world to have Pujols just get a couple of hits to center field off of you instead of a couple of bombs. The one he hit in Washington last year is still going. There's Doug Slayton.
Tyler Walker pacing in the background. Jim Lett, bullpen coach, making sure all of his guys know what's the situation between the lines. Up and away from Stammen, who threw 80 pitches coming into this inning. 51 strikes. Good ratio, but just too many pitches considering 30 of those offerings it took to get him his first 3 outs. Fastball off the plate inside, 3-1.
Well, maybe Craig's next outing, we just say it's the 2nd inning when he goes out there.
Last time out at New York, he went 5 and threw 100 pitches. Nats came back to win that game 6-4.
But I really like the sense of urgency he's pitched with since the first inning.
That ball is well hit to center. Bernardina.
Get up. He got it.
Got it right at the 400 mark. Pujols was already at second base. And Roger Bernardina reaches right up on that 8-foot wall to keep it in the ballpark.
He's okay. He's not that bad of an outfielder.
I like him.
Oh, think he's fantastic.
But the thing about him, Rob, his speed also gets him back quicker on a ball like this than some guys who are running into the wall.
Well, you see how quick he's back to the wall, and so now he's got plenty of time to try to time it against the wall. And this is the first time he's probably ever played center field in this building. This is a nice job, knowing the warning track, knowing how many steps it is to the wall. You work on that stuff before the game.
Yeah, his leg was broken, and he was out the last time the Nats were here. Fantastic play, taking 2 or 3 bases away from Rasmus. Yeah, where that glove caught the ball appeared to be maybe a foot or so below the top of that wall.
Yeah, and he was playing center field when he broke his leg in D.C. last year when he got it stuck underneath the outfield padding.
On a drive by Dan Ugla. Made the play.
Made the play, made the catch, snapped his ankle. He's back. The speed's still there. And as long as he hits, just like with Christian Guzman, you're going to find your way in the lineup every night. They'll find a position for you.
Came in batting .304, and he's 1 for 2.
And you're lucky if you can get him to say hello to you. He is as quiet as they come.
Yes, he is.
Always smiling, though. That's what I love about him. Ryan Ludwig came up to me and he goes, "How you doing?" I'm like, "I'm okay." I go, "How you doing?" He goes, "Still living the dream."
Well, for Ludwig, who didn't have any
awesome
success till he was almost 30 years old, certainly true.
But he's just so happy all the time. It's been refreshing the last few years to be around the game too, because there's just so many good kids coming into it. Good young pitching, good young players. And you come across like Matt Holliday. Is there a nicer kid out there than Matt Holliday? That's the kind of kid you introduce your daughter to. What a great kid.
And the 0-2. Stammen continues to pound David Freese after he went right center field wall for 2 RBIs back in the first. Yadier Molina next. He's thrown out 1 runner, stolen a base, and driven in a run tonight. Got him at the knees. Yeehaw. Stammen refused to give Freese anything he could extend his arms on. Kept pounding him inside.
Very rarely can we work the guy's name into the highlight, but he freezes him right there. Great location on the fastball. Good sink.
Stayed nice and quiet catching that ball.
You see his knees lock up. He knew he couldn't pull the trigger on that, and so that's just where you want to throw that pitch.
Here's Yadier Molina, who got jammed his first time and flared a base hit to right to give St. Louis their 4th run back in the first.
And keep attacking these guys, lower in the order. Watch Pudge.
Look at Pudge pointing way out there. Pudge was pointing to 8 o'clock, and that ball came in at high noon.
Well, this is another thing that I discussed with Steve McCaddy about Craig, that he gets more movement when he gets below over the top. When he starts throwing straight over the top, his ball straightens out. So they want him to be more of a whip it 3/4 guy.
And a bouncer right at Desmond. Shovels to Guzman, who had a ways to come for that relay. And the Nats are out of the 6th inning. Kennedy, Desmond, and Bernardina coming up. It's a 4-2 game. 7th inning. Nationals very much in this game. Kennedy, Desmond, and Bernardina coming up. The Nats will finish off the Battle of the Beltways against the Orioles Sunday. Bring the family out early. Pre-game player autographs start at 12:15, and the first 10,000 kids 12 and under get a free kids t-shirt. Stick around after the game for the kids to run the bases. A Curly W is in the park. Adam Kennedy, Desmond, and Bernardina all have hits in this game. They came in succession in the 5th inning, helped the Nats get their 2 runs. Desmond had a base hit earlier. And a good take by Adam. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Get up there.
Schumacher slides. Can't get the ball out of his glove. It got stuck in his web. And he just now is able to dislodge it. So Adam Kennedy's aboard here in the 7th, leading off.
Equipment malfunction.
What do you do about that one if you're the scorer?
I think this is a hit. Look at that in there. Oh.
Time to tighten up those laces a little.
Well, because he's probably worn that glove for a few years, you're going to have to take those 2 fingers, this happened to my glove, and put rawhide through those fingers.
Desmond's going to drop his 3rd hit of the night into the outfield. So Ian Desmond, not expected to play, now is 3 for 3. And the Nats have their first 2 on again. And here comes Bernardina, who's already had an influence on this game with his glove. 10 o'clock back in our nation's capital. Thanks for being with us on this Monday night from the Midwest. Bob Carpenter, Rob Dibble, Debbie Taylor, MASN HD. Nats at St. Louis. Cardinals led 4-0, and Washington now has the tying run on base. They've given Kennedy a hit for that ball that got caught in Schumacher's glove. This guy's fun to watch playing defense, Rob.
Oh, Roger's got some wheels. This ball is crushed by Matt Holliday. Back. And he just gets back on that ball. Another ball hit way back. And Bernardina finds the wall as he times the catch. Nigel Morgan saying, that's the way you play center field. I'll be back there tomorrow. Move over to right.
I'm pretty sure Bernardino will be in right field. Is Roger bunting here? Nats about to hit for Stammen.
No, I don't bunt him right here. I let him swing away. He might go deep.
Mike Morse in the on-deck circle.
See, that's exactly what I like about Mike Morse. You got home run potential right down the bench from the manager all the time.
Tony La Russa visiting with Loesch. Interesting, after Stammen had the horrible first inning, 5 innings later, he was almost even with Loesch in pitches.
I'll bring that Trevor Miller guy in. All right.
La Russa's going to play the matchup here. Lefty. Kyle Loesch will leave after 6+. A bit of bad luck for him tonight. And the Nats trying to get back into it. 2 on, nobody out. Bernardina and a veteran left-hander straight ahead. This HD Nationals baseball broadcast on MASN brought to you by your Washington Ford dealers. Your local Ford dealer invites you to experience Ford like never before. Ford, drive one. There's the old courthouse, right in the shadow of the Gateway Arch here in downtown St. Louis, and a couple of blocks to the southwest, it's Busch Stadium. A ballpark a little bit quiet and concerned right now. Left-handed Trevor Miller comes in with his 2.45 ERA in 12 appearances. He's only given up 3 hits in 7 innings. Big spot for Bernardina here. Infield guys at first and third pinching from the corners as Rogers showed bunt and then pulled the bat back. Could be a 1-batter appearance, because if the Nats pinch hit Mike Morse next,
he won't face him.
La Russa has a right-hander. Two and 0.
Well, Tony won't be happy if he walks the lefty he's brought in to get.
Miller broke into the big leagues in '96 with Detroit. He'll be 37 at the end of this month. Big man on deck, tying runs on base. Bernardina takes a strike.
That's not a strike. Come on, Jerry. This pitch is way outside and low. And that pretty much got Rick Eckstein ejected a little earlier in the ball game.
Bernardina lays down a beauty. Freese has to hurry and out on a close play at first. Not many guys come close to beating out a straight sacrifice bunt, and Roger Bernardina nearly did. So as soon as Mike Morse is announced, we expect La Russa to pop out of the dugout. They're announcing him right now.
Nice bunt by Roger Bernardina, and he almost beats it out. Freese makes a nice play, field it, step and throw. Nice job by the young third baseman. Here's the hustle right out of the box.
And La Russa stays with the left-hander here because there's another lefty on deck in Willie Harris. Interesting. Morse goes up hacking. He had a couple of hits in Colorado yesterday, and 2 of them came when he swung at the first pitch of the at-bat.
Come on, Mike. They're not going to feed you fastballs. Wait on that changeup and drive it.
Willie Harris is next. Tying runs at second base. Morse pops it up. Low breaking ball. That hurts. 2 outs.
You got to be looking for that if you're Mike Morse. Big, strong power guy. You got a guy that flips up a lot of breaking balls, a lot of changeups. He's a situational left-handed guy. He's not going to throw a fastball to a righty. So 0-1, he flips up a good breaking ball, 78 miles an hour, way out in front. A little over anxious. And Miller did a good job using that against him, and so now another righty will come up.
Alberto Gonzalez will hit for Willie Harris.
Better toll.
Adam Dunn swinging a bat in that dugout.
In case a righty comes in.
Gonzalez as a pinch hitter, 2 for 11. Here comes the manager. Switch hitter on deck, Guzman, so that really doesn't matter. Looks like he wants the right-handed matchup here with Jason Mott. So Morse fails to get the job done, but Trevor Miller does, getting 2 big outs. Cardinals 4, Nats 2. Big runner sitting out there with 2 outs now here in the 7th. From St. Louis, our copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Right-hander Jason Mott, 16 games, 3.95 ERA. This staff, by the way, second lowest earned run average in the league, 2.91 coming in. San Diego at 2.64. And now Adam Dunn for Alberto Gonzalez. Ball 1. And Dunn takes one right in there. Adam Dunn 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter this year. Nats leader with 9 homers, 19 RBIs. Second in ribbies to Zimmerman. And he comes in swinging a hot bat.
He's just been sickly the last couple of days.
Had a home run in both ends of the doubleheader at Colorado on Saturday. Not able to reach that one.
97 up high.
Wow. Kennedy and Desmond have been sitting there since the good bunt by Bernardina. Morse popped up to second. Gonzalez hit for Harris. Dunn hit for Gonzalez. And now it's 1-2 to Adam. Hit on his hands.
Well, he quickened up his swing a little bit right there. They got some guys that can throw. I like this Hawksworth kid too. I saw him in the postseason last year. So Blake Hawksworth, another kid that throws the heck out of the ball. Tyler Walker up for the good guys.
Slayton up for the second time. Walker. Target away on Dunn.
Wow.
And it's outside 2-2.
99 outside. This kid's throwing some cheese right here. You want a kid with a good arm? Here you go. 1-2. 99.
Three and two.
And he gets points for the bad beard. See, I like that. Relievers got to look flaky and crazy.
Well, wait till you see Ryan Franklin.
Oh, I know Franklin's got the long goatee, but that's like a goatee and a beard mix. Look at that job. I like it. Couldn't wear facial hair in Cincinnati, though. That would have looked scary.
3-2 outside target again. Dunn stays alive. I guess the most famous bearded closer in this town would be Bruce Sutter.
Oh, yeah. He had the mountain man. He had the Grizzly Adams going on, though. Unkept, didn't trim it up.
There it is.
He just looked like he had.
Yeah, but that beard didn't get anybody out. It was his splitter.
Yeah, but he still looked nuts. There's Ryan Franklin, the closer. Anything you can do to gain that edge, just a little bit off. That's what you want them thinking.
3-2 to Dunn. Target way out there again. There is no way to hit that ball. And Adam is gone. So are the Nats in a frustrating top of the seventh. The pop-up by Morse, the big play of the inning. It's still 4-2. Nationals baseball on MASN, brought to you by Acura. Acura Advance. And by Suzuki and the amazing new Kizashi Sports Sedan. Cool rainy night in St. Louis, Missouri. Good battle. 4-2. Cardinals lead the Nats. Seventh inning stretch time here at the ballpark. 4-0 early. Craig Stammen really turns his night around, and the Nats have battled back, and they're on the verge of being back in this game.
And we talk about quality starts. See, for me, this is a quality start. The guy gives up 4 early, shuts down their offense the rest of the way, gives us an opportunity to scratch back into this game. Now we're within 2 runs. We've been starting to get guys on second base almost every inning. One of these innings, we're going to break through, get one, maybe one more, and send this a little bit later. And that's the way you play baseball. And that's more of a baseball game for Craig Stammen. So give him a lot of credit for settling down, getting a little bit of intestinal fortitude the rest of the way. And now it's up to our bullpen, and let's see what Doug Slayton has, and maybe we'll see Drew Storn tonight.
That would be interesting to see Storn in a situation like this. We're not really sure what Jim Riggleman would do for his first major league outing. But hey, if the guy's in the bullpen, you got to use him.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why you brought him up here. He's not up here because he's a good-looking kid from Stanford. He's got a great arm, and he did well in the minor leagues. You're going to bring him up here, and just like Doug Slayton, you may use him 3 days in a row if he's productive.
Bottom of the 7th inning, Schumacher for St. Louis, the number 8 hitter. So the Nats have the pitcher now batting in the leadoff spot.
I mean, really, if you look at it, too, Stammen only left 3 guys on base after that first inning. 2 more hits. He had a fantastic outing for the 5 innings following that first.
Well, he averaged about 13 pitches per inning over those last 5. 30 pitches first inning, finishing his 6 at 96 pitches, 60 strikes. There is big outfielder Nick Stavinoa to hit for the pitcher next. Jason LaRue, probably the best known name on that list, and Slayton comes out and walks a left-handed batter to start the 7th inning.
Now that's not acceptable coming out of the bullpen doing that.
Now they're going to switch off and leave Jason Mott in the game to bunt.
There he is.
He looks like that stomach's churning a little bit, doesn't it?
Oh, that heart's pumping, man. It's boom, boom, boom. It's coming through your chest right now. But once you get out there, it's baseball. But the anticipation, and it never goes away as a reliever. You're always anxious. I mean, even Dennis Eckersley said up until he retired, he was ready to throw up until they called his name.
What was the situation when you came into your first big league game?
It was a blowout. I came in against the Padres. I think it was about the 7th inning, and I got to face the bottom of the order. I think it was Benito Santiago and Eric Schau, and I struck them both out.
Nice.
So I went about 9 outings before I gave up a run. But Pete Rose was my manager. He put me in situations where I could succeed, and I think Jim Riggleman will do the same with Storen. You don't just want this kid to come up here and pitch. You want him to succeed. You want him to always have positive reinforcement, which means being in situations to succeed. It's not like you're going to put him in a save situation tonight.
Now, this visit by Jim Riggleman revolves around defense with the pitcher bunting, how to pitch him, how to defense this situation. Now that the Nats are ahead in the count, you talk about getting ahead of hitters, getting ahead of bunters is very important too. You can't go 2-0 on a guy in a situation like this, but if you go 0-1, 0-2, then you can force him into a very difficult bunting situation.
And you might try to steal an out right here. Mott, I'm sure, doesn't bunt that often. He's a reliever. So you want to make sure that the runner can't get a great lead off first and possibly steal a base on you either. So you've got all kinds of different wheel plays and keep the guy on first, close play, and then all of a sudden, you throw a big breaking ball, maybe get Mott to pop it up.
And Schumacher is a good base runner. As I mentioned earlier, he's done some leading off for St. Louis. And Mott stabs at the ball, and quickly it's 0-2. So now you can take him up the ladder and make it difficult for him to hit a ball fair.
Well, he looked like a reliever trying to bunt right there. Ball was almost in Pudge's glove, and then he stabbed at it. Got to give yourself up, bend your knees, try to lay down that sack bunt.
Breaking ball strikes him out.
Yeah, that's almost impossible when you don't do a lot of actual game bunting. And that's going to do it. Here you go.
A walk and a strikeout. And folks, coming back from this break, another peek into our future.
A pitching change here in the 7th inning. 1 out, 1 on, and Drew Storen in to make his major league debut. And I asked him what he would be thinking when the bell rang and the phone rang for him to come into the game.
Relax. Yeah, I'm a high energy guy regardless of where I'm pitching at. At this level, I'm pretty fired up. So I think even if they don't even say my name and the phone rings, I'm probably my heart's gonna start beating a little bit faster. But that's gonna be one big thing, is just kind of relax and just kind of do what I've been doing, and hopefully the results are good.
Drew said he wants to come in here and just do his job, and his main priority is to win. He also said that his dad, Mark, will be here, and some other family members, so obviously a special night for the youngster. Bob?
Well, didn't grow up very far from here. Brownsburg, Indiana, just a couple of hours east. Storen collectively at AA and AAA this year, a 1.08 ERA in 13 games, including his last 6 games at Syracuse when he had a 1.23. His first major league hitter will be former Nat Felipe Lopez. When we saw Storen in spring training, his sinker was described as heavy by catcher Will Nieves. His hook was described as sharp. And he actually threw to Nieves more in spring training than he did Pudge Rodriguez. On a high fastball, that one's flared down the left field line, and a long run for Josh Willingham.
He caught it.
That is an outstanding play, running out of space, and he welcomes his rookie teammate to the big leagues with a very good play.
Well, and once again, I've told you how I hate that the left fielder, if this guy's throwing 94, 95, he should be in. Wow. And that ball was Not well struck. He was late on it, but it was a heck of a play by the hammer, and that's a terrible left field and right field line the way they have it at this ballpark. There's not a lot of area, and it's a concrete wall behind the padding, so not just our players, their players' safety too. There's the big curveball, very nice.
And a front door breaking ball to Ludwig.
Well, and this is what happens too with a Hall of Fame catcher back there. He's not going to just let you pump in 95 every pitch. You're going to have to pitch now you're at the major leagues. Which means a lot more off-speed pitches for strikes early in the count. 2-0, he's going to call for breaking balls and changeups. 3-1, he's going to call for breaking balls and changeup. And that's, I'm sure, you know, what they made him do down in the minor leagues. Now, obviously, the hitters aren't as polished as the guys up here. The advantage to a young kid, they'll take some pitches on you because they don't know you up here.
And that hit him up and into Ludwig. And that'll bring up Matt Holliday here in the 7th inning.
Right here, he just tries to come up and in a little bit. And he hits Ryan in the hand, and Ryan's not even going to rub it. A maximum effort kid. And that's got a smart 94 in the hand. Does not feel good.
Remember that spray we talk about?
Yeah, there
it is.
It's making a comeback.
There are times when you just have to have it.
I don't know what you use it for other than maybe to get paint off of a radiator or something, but it serves really no purpose than to kill the pain. So you freeze that area for a little bit, but once the circulation comes back, I think it hurts twice as bad because you burn the skin. Now, you got to kind of regroup now if you're Drew Storen. Take a deep breath and then go back to work on the hitter.
That'll bring up Matt Holliday with 2 on, 2 out here. Holliday 0 for 2 with a walk. Hit the ball a mile into this cold air last time up, and Roger Bernardina made a fantastic play up against the center field wall.
And I can tell you too from experience that a kid like this will face a lot of Holidays and Pujols and early on.
Well, I asked Matt,
a specialty guy.
I asked Drew about his time at AAA. He was a closer at Harrisburg, but he was not at Syracuse. He said, I pitched a lot in the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings.
Yeah, but none of that really matters here now. I mean, what he did down there was just kind of so they could see what he could do. But up here, you know, there's a lot of value in a kid that throws 95 with a great breaking ball.
Joel Peralta, the closer, saved guy at Syracuse. And the other thing Drew told me was that he only had 1 appearance out of the 6 down there when he pitched 1 inning.
Yeah.
They extended him, and oftentimes he would get 4, 5, or 6 outs.
Well, and we've seen that here in the National League, that Riggleman's going to push these guys 2 innings. Bruni couldn't do it.
This is interesting. Jim Riggleman with a very slow walk to the mound.
Well, no one's warming up, but I think he just probably wants to settle him down.
Pujols is next. You do not want to face him in this inning. But if you do, then you got to have a left-hander ready for Colby Rasmus after him. So Sean Burnett's getting the rosin and the baseball.
No, and this just shows why Jim Riggleman's an excellent manager. He knows young kids when they come up that his heart is racing, his mind is racing, and he just wants the kid to understand, listen, we brought you up here, the job's yours, so just settle down and challenge this guy. And once it leaves your hand, you can't worry about it.
2 on, 2 out. And a 2-1 count to Matt Holliday.
Attaboy.
Fastball right in there. 93.
Trust me, they don't want to face this guy way more than he doesn't want to face these guys. I mean, it's such a dynamic with the hitters. And after he just drilled Ludwig, Matt Holliday's uncomfortable in there, to say the least.
Survival swing, and he gets it off to the right.
I mean, I'm not worried about getting hit. They don't know him from Adam. They're like, Storen? Who's this guy? I mean, they probably got a little heads up in the dugout about him. Throws hard, good hook. Go get him.
Holiday almost offered. Now it's 3-2. Runners will be moving on this pitch.
Good block right there by Pudge. Knew he had to stay low on the breaking ball. Well, he's got a good late break on the breaking ball. He doesn't really need to ever throw that changeup out of the bullpen. Not with that fastball.
And Matt Holliday pops it up. Pudge Rodriguez over in front of the screen, and it's just off the top of the screen into the seats. I think Pudge thought right to the last second he was going to get that ball. It hit the cable at the very top of the screen and bounced over. Matt Holliday strikes out on a pitch diving down and in. There's that heavy sinker we talked about. And Storen retires 2 of his first 3 major league hitters. This game into the 8th, and it's still 4-2. On to the top of the 8th inning now. 630 feet high, the Gateway Arch in St. Louis. Completed in 1964. This ballpark's only been around for 4 years. Help send your favorite Nats to the 2010 All-Star Game. It was here last year, and this coming year it's in Anaheim. You can vote early, vote often, and vote up to 25 times at Nationals.com. Right-hander Kyle McClelland for St. Louis.
Oh, he's got a good beard too.
Yeah, he's a local kid.
5-day on the side, and then you got the nice growth in the front.
What do you call that?
That's my off-season beard, Bob.
Oh my gosh. Well, you are not going to see me in Southern California this October.
Oh, come on.
You're going to scare me.
I bet you got a really good beard out in Tulsa, Oklahoma in the off-season. You're thinning the herd out there.
Yeah, we're due to get running water out there any time. Guzman hits this ball pretty well. Rasmus runs it down. 8th inning underway. Busch Stadium in St. Louis. They won a world championship in the first year of this ballpark in '06. Bob Carpenter, Rob Dibble, and Debbie Taylor. 4-2 St. Louis, top of the 8th inning.
And you know what I remember about that, because I was covering it for somebody.
How about the Detroit Tiger pitchers throwing the ball all over the field?
I was just going to say, the lack of fundamentals by the Tiger pitchers cost them a world championship. They were throwing it all over the place.
Little stage fright by some of those young guys?
I don't know.
I mean, how do you explain something like that?
They had a lot of time off in between the ALCS and the World Series. And
they were the odds-on favorite to win that series going in.
I mean, the Cardinals, I think they won 83 regular season games. Doesn't matter once you get to the postseason. It's a new season once you get to that postseason.
They went 83-78 and beat Houston out by a game and a half that year. Yadier Molina hit a dramatic home run in the LCS against the Mets. Well, with the Nats losing 3 in a row, Matt Capps is now looking for work. He needs to stay sharp.
For work.
About a week ago, he was a bit overworked. The Nats stayed away from him for 1 game of that 2 out of 3 in New York.
Feast or famine.
And so now your closer needs to throw some pitches to live hitters. So look forward to him matching up with Albert Pujols, leading off the bottom of the 8th.
See, now I'd send Storen back out there, even for one more guy. Let him go face Pujols. Get it out of his system. Give them something to think about for tomorrow.
And the other school of thought would be, hey, the kid had a successful debut, get him out of there. You can go to chili'sbaseball.com, register to win a VIP baseball trip. It is all in the preparation at Chili's. McClellan, another good ERA in this staff, 2.20. They just don't give up many runs. As mentioned, the Cardinals overall earned run average 2.91 coming into this game tonight. They've only given up 1 earned run here because of that error by Schumacher back in the 5th. And the Nats see one of their best hurlers tomorrow night. Schumacher probably will be playing right behind Chris Carpenter, who's 4-1 with a 3.06. And opponents are hitting .210 against him. Zimmerman takes a 2-2 pitch, flares it to right, and that ball is caught by Ryan Ludwig. That'll keep the tying run out of the batter's box for now.
Second straight series, a right fielder has made an exceptional catch. Carlos Gonzalez did it to us up in Denver, and now Ryan Ludwig is just going to steal a double or triple away from Zimmerman. That's a terrific play. See the concentration, laying out, knowing he's going to take some pain on that track, and the fans love it, Bob.
Bases empty, 2 outs. Willingham, the hitter, Josh 0 for 2 with a walk. This ball game might boil down to that Mike Morse at bat back in the 7th when he popped up with runners at 2nd and 3rd and a 1 out, keeping the Nats 2 runs down. And then, of course, Adam Dunn struck out, pinch hitting. 4 outs yet to work with. And Willingham serving one the other way and just missing Dan Radisson, who's from a little town in Illinois just across the river. In fact, I asked Dan last night, what prompted you to leave the Cardinals and come to the Nationals? He pointed to the row in front of us on the plane, said,
Riggleman.
Jim Riggleman.
Wow.
Front door breaking ball, very close.
That's a nice pitch. Well, that guy throws in the low to mid 90s and then he drops this big hook on you. Not too many guys are going to be able to pull the trigger on that one.
Well, we've seen Drew Storen tonight. Steven Strasburg on MASN tomorrow night, 11:30. His next start after Nats Extra, and then live coverage Sunday at 5.
Hey, do you think they can start the Strasburg replay after the replay again so I can watch it when we get home at 3 o'clock in the a.m.
3 o'clock in the morning?
It was nice of the Cardinals to play a day game tomorrow to let us get back into D.C. at a nice time.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
I think he wears a mouthpiece. I think that's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's fixing to brawl. I think he shaves yet.
Well, he's 22, Rob.
Yeah, but look at that baby face.
Willingham takes ball 3. Pudge Rodriguez next. 0 for 3 tonight. Nats have been robbed of an extra base hit here by Ryan Ludwig. And now Willingham stays alive.
I was talking to former general manager and now analyst for MLB TV John Hart today. And he had a term that I had never heard before. He said, fly around the league one time, talking about young players.
Fly around the league.
Yep, fly around the league. Yeah, but he was famous, especially in Cleveland, for signing a lot of young players below market value, before arbitration, lock them up.
Preemptive strike.
Yeah, well, also, though, you know, to give them the guaranteed money up front for stuff they're going to do in the future, and you at least take that out of the equation. He hated arbitration.
Willingham gets jammed and flares it down the left field side. Unreachable.
He said he loved his players so much. He said, I couldn't for the life of me think what a worse system than arbitration to go sit across from your players and then rip into them after they've done a good job for you to save a few ducats, as he put it. So you rip into all the negative things that they might do as a baseball player, and then you got to, you know, have them rejoin the team after that meeting.
Yeah.
And he just said the process is not healthy, and I agree.
Willingham stays alive again.
I mean, if you look at some of the Ryan Braun deals and Evan Longoria, I mean, those are pretty good deals for the teams, because those guys are exceptional players. You know, it's the Kyle Loesch's and the Oliver Perez's you got to shake your head at.
Oh. Willingham hits one a mile foul.
That was pitch number 11 that somebody out there has a souvenir.
Well, the conditions have dried off here. A lot of rain in the middle of the ball game. Top of the 8th here, and a 3-2. Willingham lives to fight another pitch.
Well, see, now if you're McClellan, you got to reach deep in your bag of tricks and say, okay, I got a sidearm curveball right here, or I got a sinker, something I haven't thrown in this at bat that I got to throw out there.
And Josh, on a hard-breaking ball, strikes out. Quite a battle. A great play by Ludwig, and it's the middle of the 8th with St. Louis leading 4-2. Bottom of the 8th inning coming up here in St. Louis in our game summary. Ian Desmond, the offensive star for the Nats tonight, has scored a run. He's 3 for 3. Big blow of this game, David Freese, 2-run triple over Willie Harris off the right field wall back in the first inning. And Craig Stammen, a really rough first inning and then a great battle after that.
Drew Storen's night. Welcome to the major leagues, young man. Felipe Lopez, the first hitter he ever faced in the major leagues, fouled out, or a great catch. Then he hits Ryan Ludwig, so he gets the hit batter out of the way, and then he strikes out Matt Holliday, one of the best sluggers in the major leagues, for his first major league strikeout. And as long as Drew Storen continues to throw strikes for this ball club, Bob, he will be a valued addition.
Matt Cap's getting some work, and work indeed. Here's Albert Pujols.
So the future's now for the Nationals in the next 3-4 weeks. Some other guy with a S at the beginning of his name.
Yeah, we hear he throws hard.
He throws hard. He'll be okay.
Breaking ball that Pujols pulls, foul. Matt took just enough off that Albert was way out ahead. Phillies won their game tonight at home, 12-2 over the Pirates. Pujols hits a rocket at Zimmerman that spins him around. Desmond
Nearly throws
made
him
a
out.
play out of it.
And Albert looks like he hurt himself.
Pujols over the bag, limping a bit. Well, they've had Ryan Ludwig hit on the hand tonight. Kyle Loesch jerking a neck muscle. And the last thing they ever need is for that man to get hurt.
Well, there's the swing. Looks okay. Nearly kills our third baseman. But then the shortstop makes a great recovery. Look at this, barehanded. Desmond off balance.
Forcing Pujols to really stretch for the bag.
Maybe he, right on the stretch, it looks like he came up short on the base. So he might have tweaked that foot, the top of his foot, by hitting the bag wrong.
Appears to be okay. Rasmus, the hitter.
That guy's played in a lot of pain.
Oh, he had
unless it's broken, I don't think he's coming out.
Last year or two, he played with a right elbow that was killing him.
Well, he basically was told at that time he needed Tommy John. Now he's been told that he may never need Tommy John surgery.
Caps misses low to Rasmus. Colby Rasmus, St. Louis's first RBI back in the first. He hit that ball on which Bernardina made a fantastic play up against the wall. Holiday's been robbed by the Nats center fielder tonight. And this one scorched right up the middle. 2 on, nobody out.
Well, it just shows, too, when you're not in a pressure cooker situation, you're down a couple of runs, it's tough to invent your adrenaline and get it to come up to where it is when it's a 1-0 game. Well, we saw this, remember, when he started the whole good run of saves. He had an appearance in a blowout game. Got some work in, and then the next night he was in a save situation. Well, now you got to try and roll a double play.
And a ball bunted. Kennedy grabs it, tags David Freese. And the Cardinals have a chance now to put the ball game away. Ryan Franklin, their closer, warming up. May's a great month to take a look at the Nationals' future down at Potomac. Dollar drink specials in Woodbridge on Thursdays. The fireworks show every Saturday, and a chance for kids to run the bases after every weekend game. 703-590-2311. Join the party with the Potomac Nationals. PotomacNationals.com. It's only a half hour away. Infield in, Molina the hitter. And this is a very good contact hitter. Yadier Molina this year has had 121 at bats, and he's made contact 105 times. Cap starts him with a breaking ball that he hits right off the top of the barrel. These two saw a lot of each other. Cap's in his years in the Central with Pittsburgh.
Well, the thing I like about Yadier, he's become a much better hitter, consistent, clutch guy over the years. Not much of a hitter the first couple of years.
I remember Tony La Russa saying years ago that this kid was ready to catch in the major leagues as a teenager. He was that far advanced defensively. It's taken a while to get the offense going. Pujols at third, Rasmus at second. 1 out, bottom 8. Cincinnati won their ball game tonight, beating Milwaukee 6-3. So St. Louis has to win to stay a half game back in the Central. Kind of ironic, that situation, with former St. Louis general manager Walt Jocketty engineering a real nice turnaround after he was fired here. 2-1 pitch. Out to second. Runner coming home. And Guzman will throw it to first. Even with the infield in, Guzman didn't feel like he had a play at the plate. And St. Louis leads by 3. Molina's second RBI of the night.
Well, you see Albert Pujols coming down the line, perfect walking lead, and right there he's more than halfway, and Guzzi does the right thing. He wouldn't have had Albert at home.
Secondary lead by Pujols made that play.
And he's just he's an excellent base runner. So.
And Jim Riggleman knows what a good base coach there is over there at third. Jose Oquendo is a long-time coach here on your left. Many for years have considered him managerial material. He was one of the names bounced around. I don't know if it was legit or not, but his name was mentioned when the Nationals let go Frank Robinson before they brought in Manny Acta.
I think he's been a candidate for a few jobs. I think he doesn't want to leave here. I think it's a situation like in L.A. Don Mattingly's not going to leave there until Joe Torre retires, which we don't know when's going to happen.
The 0-1 to Schumacher. Up the middle. Desmond can't get it. And the Cardinals lead by 4.
Now it's just fastball away. Got too much of the plate. And Desmond can't make the play on it. I don't know if he would have thrown him out anyway. Schumacher's got good wheels. Left side.
So here's Nick Stavinoa, who is going to bat last inning before Tony La Russa left Jason Mott in to bunt unsuccessfully. Good tight slider away.
I think he broke the bat, or he almost broke the bat.
Sounded funny, didn't it?
It sounded funny.
They list this guy at 6'2", 240. He was a middle linebacker at the University of Houston. Left there to play baseball at San Jacinto Junior College in Texas, and ended up as a senior at LSU. St. Louis drafted him in the 7th round back in 05 out of there. And a little tapper that Zimmerman will charge and get a big hop. And this ball game goes into the 9th. But some damage done. St. Louis by 4. Rodriguez, Kennedy, and Desmond into the 9th. Game 1 of this short 2-game series in St. Louis, and tomorrow night, if the Nats don't come from behind here, well, or if they do, they still have their hands full. First of all, it'll be John Lannon for Washington. 1-2 and 7 starts. Opponents hitting over 320 against John. And I guess it's important for him to say, I'm not facing Chris Carpenter, my hitters are. Carpenter 4-1 with a 3.06 ERA. He's a 121 game winner in his career, who was right in the thick of the Cy Young race last year. In fact, a lot of people are surprised he didn't win it. We'll get you going at 7:30. Nats Extra, presented by your Washington area Ford dealers. No safe situation, but Ryan Franklin's in anyway.
No, Adam Wainwright should have won the Cy Young last year, not Lincecum. Wainwright had 5 more saves or 5 more starts than Carpenter. More wins. The team had more wins in Wainwright's games, but the voters' favorite right now is Tim Lincecum. Wainwright had the best year last year, just like Felix Hernandez up in Seattle.
And a fastball tapped over the mound by Pudge Rodriguez. Right from the bag, Schumacher for the first out.
And Seattle, Bob, continues to not score. And Cliff Lee's 1-2 with a low ERA. Well, if they continue to just play awful baseball, they're getting beat right now by Oakland 5-1. I see Cliff Lee maybe getting traded before August.
Things have to be pretty bad for a pitcher not to want to pitch in Seattle. That is one big dead ballpark for hitters.
Well, they've already fired one hitting coach up there. And we all know about the Ken Griffey Jr. Was he sleeping? Was he not sleeping? Doesn't matter at this point. That the team's not hitting. Milton Bradley's your cleanup hitter.
Yeah, the bats are the ones sleeping.
Yeah, the bats are just non-existent. There's
That
a double.
ball hit well down the line. Adam Kennedy with that patented uppercut hook swing of his. And Kennedy returns to St. Louis with 3 hits tonight.
And this guy coming up has 3 hits tonight.
And by the way, Rob, that's the Nats' first extra base hit in this game.
There's that beautiful swing. Gets on top of a breaking ball. Good top spin into the corner.
Desmond has raised his average tonight from 246 up to 265.
So Franklin in a non-save situation, trying to get his adrenaline up there. Getting some work.
And now we think that Adam Kennedy has had a ruling change on that ball he hit into the glove of Schumacher. They've called it an error. There's a base hit by Desmond, who's 4 for 4. Kennedy had to make that line drive go through. And how big do those 2 St. Louis runs now look in the bottom of the 8th?
Humongous.
Roger Bernardina coming up.
Ian Desmond. Sometimes when you don't know you're playing, sometimes when you don't know you're starting and you're going to be a starting pitcher, you have your best game. Well, there's a 4 for 4 effort from a guy that wasn't supposed to start tonight. It's impressive. Well, one swing of the bat right here. We're down by a run.
Bernardina, and remember Mike Morse is still in the ball game.
Yep.
He's on deck. Well, this is the reverse of the Matt Cap situation. A closer coming in down 2 runs, gives up a couple, and now a closer coming in up 4, no save situation, and he may be about to cough up a run or 2 here. Strange lot, you closers.
You're flaky. It's a tough world out there.
Bernardina takes one that just misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Because when you have a sense of urgency, bases loaded, 1-run game, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal. But when you go out here and you get a 4-run lead, I give up a couple of hits and a home run and I'm safe. That thinking gets you into problems.
First 4-hit game of this year for Ian Desmond. Second, he had one last September when he came up to the Nats and hit 280. That was that big game he had down at Land Shark Stadium. 1-2 to Bernardina.
Now that I don't understand. You're up 4 runs.
Who cares about base runners?
Who cares about base runners right now? You just want to get the last couple of outs if you're the closer.
Close enough to be swinging on 1 and 2. In the division, Florida lost tonight 5-1. That was at home to Arizona, and the Mets beat the Braves in Atlanta 3-2. So that's how it shakes out in the East tonight, with the Phillies blowing out the Pirates.
Come on, Roger.
Nasty breaking ball in the dirt strikes him out. 2 down. Here's our 4th drive of the game, opposite field.
Well, it's a freeze triple. Well, Willie Harris nearly caught. Right in 3 runs. Right now, that's the difference in the ball game.
And here's Mike Morse, whose pop-up with runners at 2nd and 3rd, 1 out in the 7th was critical. 2-run game at the time. Pitcher spot is next. And the Nats have Niger Morgan ready if this ball game continues. Runner goes off first. Ball 2. Desmond down to second. And he still has 3 stolen bases. The old indifference call. Two 2-0 count here. Morris takes a big swing and fouls it off to the right. There he is. He would represent the tying run if Morse can keep this going. That's way outside. 3-1. That ball is well hit. Pujols. And the Cardinals take some runs away from the Nats with their gloves tonight and win the ball game 6-2. Ryan Ludwig in the 8th. Albert Pujols in the 9th.
Well, they made the plays when they had to, Bob. Ludwig saved a double off Zimmerman. There's a run-scoring base hit, maybe a double off Morse, but when you have the lead and you have the defense, and luck is on your side, the Cardinals beat us.
Nationals strand a frustrating 7 runners tonight. St. Louis wins it, and the Nats have lost 4 straight.
Hi, everybody. Johnny Holiday and Ray Knight. Nats Extra Post game coming up in just a couple of moments. 6-2, a tough loss for the Cardinals in the first of a quick 2-game series in St. Louis.
Yeah, Stemmen pitched well. First inning got him. Golly, threw 30 pitches and only 66 after that, Johnny.
And one thing about this ball club, you know they're going to be resilient and they'll probably bounce back tomorrow. And let's go back to Bob Carpenter and Rob Dibble up in St. Louis. And one thing about tonight, offensively at least, Bob, we saw Ian Desmond go 4 for 4.
Johnny, that's exactly what he did. He wasn't supposed to start the ball game tonight. And Rob, Desmond raising his average now up into the 270 range.
And Bob, Ray could tell you sometimes your best night and your loosest night is when you're not thinking you're going to be in the lineup, and then the manager taps you on the shoulder. Ian, you got it. And he goes out and does a 4 for 4 and played some really nifty defense. So it was a nice night by Desmond.
I like his chances of playing tomorrow night. Cardinals beat the Nationals 6-2. For Rob Dibble and Debbie Taylor, Bob Carpenter. Tune in Tuesday. MASN HD. The Nats try to break this losing streak. Coverage begins at 7:30. This has been a presentation of MASN. Stay tuned now. Nats Extra. Johnny and Ray in the studio coming right up. Cardinals flashing some gloves tonight, and from St. Louis, so long for just a while.